Ladies and gentlemen, OpenAI has just announced this new thing called Codex, and we're trying to figure out, is it smart enough to handle your day-to-day tasks as an engineer, as a program manager, as all these different tasks that you would normally do to ship software? So with me, joining me today, I have ProgramWithAI, aka Manuel. And so he has been programming for over 25 years in the industry. And I've been in the industry for about 12 years plus. I used to work at Apple, and we're now taking a look. We're going to do a technical deep dive today to see if the hype has been worth it. I've been seeing a lot of people post on X about this new platform, and I'm just really curious to see, what's going on with OpenAI's new Codex. People are saying that it's like really changing the game as far as agents that can work for you in your code. And so it's supposedly you can just give it some instructions. It's going to look through, merge some code. It can work with the CLI, which is the command line interface, to put the changes into your code. You just review it and just YOLO, right? Ship software and you're pretty much good. It's apparently like as simple as just going to ChatGPT. As of right now, it does require access using your Pro account. So you're going to need a ChatGPT Pro account so that you'll pay like $200 a month to get access to it. And so if you're understanding, or maybe you're on the fence, you want to get into that and you just don't want to pay out the money, both of us have paid $200 each, and we're going to go through this live. And I'm going to have timestamps and chapters and all that stuff using my app Ray Transcribe. So I'm going to, after the live stream, make sure that all the transcripts are uploaded so that you can go through and do these little chapter markers at the bottom to guide you through maybe sections of things that you care about. And hopefully this could be a really good guide and in-depth technical review as engineers taking a look at this for the first time. So Manuel, welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey man, it's going pretty good. Let's go ahead and see if I can share my screen or share your screen here. Yeah, here we go. Cool. Welcome, man.
Oh, yeah, I was already trying to prepare something that would be useful for me.
Okay.
But yeah, I've been literally I set it up today and I had it launch like a couple of things. So I don't know if you want to get like right into the meat of it, or like have you, I don't know, how many agents have you been using before this?
I've only really tried Cursor's background agents, and for code, I haven't really trusted an agent enough to go do useful stuff. And I was getting to the point where I had to write the instructions for an agent and write plans for an agent to do that. And I haven't really fully realized all that stuff yet. So like one of them is for an agent to implement the Stripe convex workflow to get new users to sign up. And I have like about a 500-line markdown file that describes it in 10 sections for it to do that. And I'm hoping that was just going to one-shot YOLO it for my app. But yeah, that's like right as far as I got, right? And then all this stuff just started coming out. I'm just curious to see what you've been cooking with.
I've been like, my first foray into this like completely hands-off kind of coding thing has been Manus, like about 6-7 weeks ago.
Right.
And yeah, I burned a lot of credits. And so since then I've tried like Scout, which is very similar to Manus, which came out like 3 weeks ago. I don't know. It already seems like ages ago. And
right.
Lately I've been using Mcode quite a bit, which is a little bit different. It's more like a slightly more autonomous cursor chat.
Okay.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
And then Codex, which seems to be like a pretty hands-off, like let it go. And it's in the cloud, which is pretty interesting, right? Like Manus and Scout are in the cloud. Mcode is in Cursor.
Yes.
And I've gotten used to where to leverage them to the point where it's weird in a way, like chatting in Cursor, like in the normal Cursor kind of way.
Yeah.
Which is semi-automated already, right? It now feels like manual labor to me.
So for me, like on my screen right now, because I have the ChatGPT Pro and I haven't done the setup, it just shows me this. So if I just go to chatgpt.com, in my chats at the very top left, it'll just say Codex. And then when we do that, it punches me into here. So I just hit get started. And basically it's just going to say, okay, what do we want to do? Your software engineering agent drafts GitHubs and PRs, navigates your code base, runs lints and tests, and then is powered by a new coding model. So this is really interesting. Fine-tuned to work on large code bases. So the next thing you would want to do is set up your GitHub account. So I guess when you set up your GitHub account for here, when I click at the bottom, technically I just would select it. It's all. So it knows it's going to act on my behalf, and OpenAI is going to connect to my account. So I just basically authorize ChatGPT to YOLO, right? YOLO. Dude, all my code's going to be gone now. Cool. So I basically...
You're done for.
Oh, I'm done for. Okay. So right now it says pick a repo that and help set up the basics and stuff. So as of now, there's no GitHub accounts. So I have to add an account? I don't understand. I thought I already have an account.
If you want to do this, and I can take over while you do your whole logging in kind of stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. I'll
I don't
just
know. I set it up before when, you could do deep research on your own repos, but I have it already set up. Like once you're logged in, you can create what's called environments. And so an environment is like one of your GitHub repos, and I'll create one, right? Like you create one, get to select your GitHub organization. So I'm going to take my open source organization. Let me kill my Slack because just so that, is it gone? Goodbye, Slack. Please die.
That's funny.
It's like one of those that like lives in the background.
Oh, I see.
So you choose your organization, right? Like I have a couple. You choose your repo. So I want to add features to my MCP server. Choose the repo. You can describe it. And then here's an interesting, already like technical deep dive is how Codex works.
Oh, I see.
It starts a container, right? Like it will start a container within which the agent will run. They are going to allow for custom images. So you could make like a custom image that already has like a whole tool chain set up and all of these things, but their base image, which is also on GitHub, if you're interested in how it works, contains like a bunch of common kind of programming environments.
Okay.
So you can choose, like say my stuff is in Go, and I think 123.8 might be good enough.
Okay.
But here you can basically choose like your different versions of whatever you're working with. And the only time this Docker container will have access to the internet is when it boots, like when it starts.
Oh.
And you have the opportunity to put in like a couple of commands here to download the packages you need, like do anything else you need, because afterwards you won't have access to the internet.
Ah, okay. So anything internet related, being any packages that haven't been installed or whatever, all has to be basically kind of bootstrapped here, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And so it's, I mean, I kind of know why they do that, because like otherwise people are going to run like their crawlers and all that stuff on there. It's weird, right? Because like Manus and stuff like that, they're like, yeah, whatever, just do whatever in our VMs. I don't know if that's going to turn to be an issue for them or not.
Right. But okay.
Here, what's really annoying is that if I want to do something like, oh, please implement like the Claude API, the agent's not going to look up the reference documentation for me, right? So I have to like download it earlier.
Wow. Okay. Even if you check, but then a way around is maybe checking in the code into the repo so that, hey, go look at this folder type of thing, and then it goes and gets the instructions.
Yeah.
And then in the chat window. Okay. Yeah.
This is something I can show you, right? Because like one of the features that I wanted to demo is indeed add like the thinking streaming from Anthropic to my framework.
Okay.
So in my setup instructions, I basically have it clone like the Anthropic SDK.
Okay. Oh, wow.
So that's something we can do, right? It's,
sure.
The way it works after that, because we can just run like a couple in the background and then we can talk about things.
Sure.
So
yeah.
The first thing I'm going to do is like basically add the new streaming blocks. So I'm going to add the new streaming blocks for thinking and web search results and such to my Geppetto Claude API framework. And so including the streaming events, I think.
Interesting.
Look at third party for the reference implementation, something like that, right? And then just to explain, I mean, I'm not prompting agents is like a new thing, right?
Right.
But what I'm thinking about here, and I hope it works, is like I give it a very precise definition of where to look, right? Like the third party here is like actually a clear indicator to say like, look in this folder.
Oh,
And
okay.
the slash is not innocent, right? Like I put the slash in because it makes it clear that it's a directory. If I remove it, it's like pretty unclear what third party means. So
Ah,
having the
in the
slash
Unix
helps.
environment or in the shell, like adding a
It could mean
slash
like, oh,
indicates a
yeah,
folder. Got
exactly.
it. Yeah. Huh.
And so it's easy to miss these little things when I do them and I forget to explain them, but they make a huge difference.
Got it.
And same here, I mentioned my name
Mm-hmm.
and Claude API is because there's actually a folder that's called like Claude/API in there.
Oh, okay.
But here I'm not putting the slash because I want it to be more general as well.
Wow.
So it's like a trade-off because I know this agent, and as we'll see, it's really fast. So we'll
Okay.
have to
So there are a couple
buckle
buttons. It
up.
says ask and then code. Is there a difference?
Yeah, what ask does is I think it starts the container with a read-only drive,
Oh, okay. Got it.
and then it's faster to boot, but it can't write code, right?
Ah, okay. And then code,
So we're gonna go and code, yeah.
okay, so you select the
So I
button.
don't know if that's good prompting, right?
And so what's happening right now, when you hit enter, it's actually building a new container for every request.
It's starting a new container, and
Ah,
then it will right now it's like starting up. And after that, I suppose that they have I haven't watched the announcement stream. Like I'm coming into just like completely no
same.
idea how this was implemented.
Yeah.
But I think they have their own reasoning model that is able to do tool calls while doing the inference.
Okay.
And
Got it.
since they're hosting everything on their own infrastructure, it's like really fast compared
Oh,
to even AM code, right? That sends to Anthropic and then executes the tool call locally and then sends it back to Anthropic and then does this kind of thing. You'll see, like, this is booting up. It's running my. Oh, is it already failing? I'm an idiot because I
environment.
should have removed this. Let me. So it's not able to do apt-get install, which is weird.
Interesting.
So
So
hopefully that's not going to be too much of an issue.
yeah. And then to get started, it sounds like you'd have to do quite a bit of prep work to set up your environments because you only have internet at first boot. And so that's when you're saying, hey, pip install X, make sure you have this in there or whatever other stuff you need. It doesn't have access to like an MCP server or anything like that.
No.
I wonder if somebody can bootstrap something, if you know what I mean.
Well, it has no internet connection, right? I think that will be
Oh,
coming because it's just like such
oh,
a crucial thing.
yes, yes.
But
Yeah, I'd love an internet connection maybe here where you're typing it in, saying do a web thing and go grab that and then pull it into my container.
and I can imagine that they're going to add like a web search tool. I mean, maybe they have a web search tool and I haven't just like noticed it, but I
Got it.
think it has absolutely no internet connection after the setup part.
Okay. Yeah, because on my side, on my screen, basically what I see is just this, go ahead and create your organization and it says add GitHub account. So when I do that, I can
Yeah.
select, the GitHub organization. And then from there, basically able to see kind of, okay, go ahead and authorize it. Yes, I want to authorize in YOLO all my repositories. Yes, I want to do my actual stream, my fingerprint and everything. Boom. And we're going to just basically be redirected back. And so now we should basically have access to pretty much everything that I've been working on, as far as like apps and stuff. And then that's how you basically get started with creating the environment. And that's the screen that I think you were showing me as far as like setting up those different environment variables to documentation. So it does take some time to get set up if you're getting started with this. So first thing to know is like, once you connect your GitHub repos, like the first step is like, get it installed, get the GitHub repos connected, then set up your environment. And the environment is per specific repo, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think you can probably create multiple environments for the same repo as well.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Wow. That's
And I mean, you can look like mine's already started here and it's like crazy how fast this is compared to like M code or so.
Yeah, let me see your screen here.
Because
Wow.
since we started, it has been like browsing my code base, right? Like it found the agent, then it starts grepping stuff across the code base, right? It's like, oh, let's grep for new streaming in the Anthropic, right? Like it has found the third party thing straight away.
Wow.
And then it's starting to grep, and then it greps some more, and it greps and it greps, and like finds its code, and it is. I can tell it's already looking at the correct code.
Wow.
But
Whoa.
it's like crazy fast. Like look at that, because
Wow.
each of these is a tool call. So if you're used to cursor, you're like, okay, well, this is something else, right? So it is definitely very, very different from very, very promising compared to just the way the other ones are set up, which is they're not able to host their tools close to the model, I guess.
It says, I'm scrolling
Uh,
around 3,700. If you scroll up a little bit, one of the descriptions in its logs, if you, it says, I'm scrolling around 3,720 to review the definitions.
Yeah, that's the Anthropic SDK file. It's like just humongous.
Whoa.
But that's where the beta web search tool request error code invalid thing is in there, right? And because I said web search results here, so I probably like found this through grep.
Wow. That's really kind of cool how it has enough sense. I mean, because I've seen some people who do really heavy backend and they just pretty much just use the terminal exactly like this. It looks like a senior backend dev engineer who's like, all right, I don't know what your code looks like. Let me just start grepping around. Right?
Yeah, it's weird because everybody does grep and it seems to work really well, right? And it's very flexible, but also we have all these like pretty good language servers now, which I think could also be pretty interesting to do a quick search. It's like, oh, give me all the functions that contain search. Like that's one. I don't know. We'll see how where this all goes, and it's easy to wire up your like. It's easy, as Torsten Ball, the dude from SourceGraph, showed. It's very easy to roll your own coding agent in many ways.
I see.
And they do really benefit from like custom tools, right? Like every agent loop in the standard way we build agents, which is just like, feeding back tool call results into the LLM, letting the LLM kind of decide everything. The tools make or break how well it performs.
Got it. Wow. Yeah, and so for those who are just joining in, kind of explain what your repos is, and then like the feature request you gave it, so that we have some context on what we're sort of should be expecting from OpenAI's new codex.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. So the repo I'm looking at is my framework called Geppetto, which I think just still says like GPT-3 tooling because it's like from 2022.
Wow.
But it's basically a wrapper around multiple AI APIs, and it has a bunch of tools to like embeddings, to do streaming completion, caching, like all kinds of stuff. But at its core, it's just like wrapping the Anthropic API, the OpenAI API, and Claude has this like pretty elaborate streaming API, right? Where it's like is streaming blocks of text, and so a block could be a message and a tool call, which is what I implemented. But since then, they added like thinking and web search results and all kinds of new blocks, which I don't support, and I kind of want to have support for those.
Oh, okay. Got it.
So that's what I
and
asked.
it's all
Codex,
written in Go.
Right? It's like yeah.
Wow.
It says like add the new streaming blocks for thinking, and then I'm like, okay, well, let's figure it out.
And then where did you put the reference information? Because like you said, the documentation is not on like accessible via Codex, right? Through the web.
Do you want me to rant about fucking Anthropic API documentation? And OpenAI does the same. So you have this like great API documentation, which is where it's here.
Okay.
And it's this like API reference, and it's this like super nice page, right? You can go to messages, and then you see post, and then you see like you have like little things you can click with like tabs. Where's one of them? Let me see. Yeah, you can show the child attributes, and you can like click on these tabs. It's like that like all I want to do is copy paste all of this,
That's
paste
right.
it into an LLM, and like build it, but I can't because everything's like hidden away behind this like
Oh,
freaking JavaScript nonsense.
and there's no LLM's
And
text thing for this?
there's no LLMs, and not that I could find.
Weird.
And it is like OpenAI does the exact same. It's like you can't even like look. You need to have JavaScript enabled,
Whoa.
and it's not even like the things are like hidden, right? It's not.
Right.
No, they're actually swapped in,
Oh my gosh. I didn't know this.
and it's not.
That's weird.
And
An AI company.
yeah, and then you have like if you look at the network transport, it like actually sends serialized HTML, right? Like to do SSR or stuff. So you can't even like just get like a nice JSON blob that you can copy paste out.
That's
So
crazy.
it drives me wild. I was like, does no one use LLMs? Like, don't you know what's important for an LLM to do?
Yeah, so Doom is
So I
asking, you
wrote,
could probably scrape the site. So I'm really curious, how did you scrape it?
so yeah, I did that. So I did, I don't remember where I put it. That's like the next issue. I wrote something that actually does remote JS execution because that's like something I wanted to have anyway. And then it like actually unfolds all the tabs and
Oh my
gets the
gosh. So you're in the browser, you're
uh,
basically unfolding them all with the remote execution. So do you build like the DOM again, or like how do you render the
let me see, it's right here actually. So it's on a separate branch, and I don't remember how far I got. But I mean, this is something you could, which you can't really do with Codex, right? Because it doesn't have, it's not able to launch a browser.
interesting?
But if I
Oh,
go to the branch remote JS executor, because I do have a branch on my fork. Hold on, 'cause I fork my own repos because that's how an enterprise I am. Um, I think it's on the branch remote JS executor.
wow.
Um, Man, this is like the problem with, especially with agents, it gets worse and worse because every little idea I have, I put into Manus. I'm just like, hey, Manus, can you build like a
Yeah.
command line tool to do X, Y, Z? And then I just like completely lose track of all the stuff I built. But yeah,
You
I
need
have this
agents to
here.
manage your agents, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, this little JavaScript here unfolds every single thing
Wow.
underneath. And this is an MCP, I think. I think I built it as an MCP server.
Whoa.
And then I just let like I just let cursor do it.
Wait, where can I get this
Yeah, I don't.
MCP? Did you publish it?
No, I wrote it like last Friday, and I don't know if it works. Like it's I don't know, man.
Oh my
It's like I
gosh.
really lose track of all these things.
Yes.
And it's like great code, right? It's like really not bad code at all.
Right.
I'm sure I turned this into an MCP, but I don't remember.
Whoa. Okay.
Uh,
So you scrape the documents, you basically have them in Markdown, or what does it output the documentation in?
That was the plan. And I think
Okay.
then I had to leave the coffee shop or something. So I
Got
don't
it.
think I finished it. So
Oh,
what I did here as a shortcut, right, to so that Codex has it is like I cloned their implementation of it. I was like, in their implementation, there's bound to be everything. And indeed there is. And it's finished, right? So
oh,
the
wow.
really cool thing about this is you can push it and you can create a PR.
Okay.
So then you can just go review it. I could review it here, but I can also just review it on.
GitHub.
I can already tell that it's like pretty good.
Whoa. Dang,
So
that's
I'm gonna say,
crazy.
are there other blocks that are missing? Right.
Oh. So you're still having a
So
conversation with it. Huh.
I think that relaunches the whole thing though,
Oh,
right?
interesting.
Because it
Yeah, let's
gives me
just see.
it will it
Code.
will relaunch the whole.
So it won't make a pull request, just, or will it take it down,
Yes.
or,
This is the pull request that came out.
wow. Move you out of the way.
So you can see along with the other block types that I have, it added the right ones here.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I mean, none of this is like typical boilerplate kind of work, right? It's like there's already a very clear established pattern. We were talking about this earlier, right? Like how
Yeah.
do you organize your repo? for LLMs to work well, it's like, well, anything that like is very structured, very easy to copy if you were new to this repo, right?
I see.
Or the way I like thinking about it is like, when you have like a day where you're not feeling too well, or like in my younger days when I was hangover, you have these like kinds of tasks where, like, yeah, I'm going to be just like copy pasting the API basically. That's code that the LLMs like.
Ah, that's funny. So you basically have to like drunk text your codex so that it can actually do the thing.
Yeah. And it's what people before used to build like, frameworks around. So you only have to type, say, the thinking block definition once.
Yeah.
Now you don't really need to do that because it's so easy to just like write a lot of boilerplate.
Mm-hmm.
And to recreate it if you change your framework approach a little bit. So it's really, I think of it as like just like a clever code generator. It didn't compile though, right? So there's
I see.
There's something in the linting that doesn't work.
Daniel has a question. Have we gone through the agents.md setup best practices yet? I think we can go into that probably after we review this, as far as where we're at. So yeah, where are we on the stream so far? We've just kind of briefly talked about Codex, what it is a little bit, and then started kind of hopping into what a configuration looks like to get it set up. Very basic, like connecting the stuff. And then Manuel was already several steps ahead of me because he got his repo already set up. And this is where we learned that the Codex itself only has access to the internet at the first like environment setup. So any packages and things you need, you have to call that out and run setup scripts to make sure it downloads and sets up basically that little environment for you. After that, it has no more internet connection, and then you can't do anything. So a problem that Manuel had was the fact that he needed some documentation from Anthropic, and he had to scrape it and then put it into the repo. From there, he was able to ask questions with Codex to implement a section of his code, which kind of made that going. And that's kind of what we're seeing here. It's like it gave him back something, and then he created a pull request, and in his pull request, it actually had some linting errors. And says, like, hey, you can't check this in yet because there's a linting error. And
so that's a good point for like agents.md setup practices, right? Like in my agent.md, I'm going to put in like run lint before you please commit this, because now I'm basically losing more time fixing this linting error, which is like minimal compared to having the whole thing running, right? It's like to get all of this built, I had to type like a single sentence.
Right.
To fix the linting error, I'm like having to rerun this for like 2 minutes and do all of that stuff. So it's like
you know what's interesting? As like right now as a feature request for OpenAI, if they're listening, I'd love for you to have like a best practices like for environments. Like if you're just getting into this, it's like, hey, we notice your linting stuff isn't set up for this. Do you have that? We suggest you set one up, or we can generate one for you, right? So like actually trying to use the language model.
They have that.
Okay.
They have that, like, so they at least the beginning of something. So their documentation is actually not completely empty. And so they have some kind of guidance on what is in there, right? And I also, so the linting is like kind of it's a double-edged sword, because I actually had it in my agent.md and then I disabled it because what it would do is it would auto-format my source code. And so when AmpCode, which was the agent that I used before, every time it was linting the project, it was also reformatting whatever it wrote.
Yeah.
So the agent actually doesn't know what's in the file now. And so when it tries to do an edit, it actually just mismatches, like maybe because of a tab or maybe because of white space. And then it fails to apply just because it actually formatted the source code, right? So it's like you have to kind of be careful with that kind of stuff. If you change things under the agent's hood, in these linting steps, in these unit testing steps, like it's a little bit, I have to work a little bit more, because right now I do run into these white space issues quite a bit.
So how do we generate the agents.md file, like from the, when you're getting set up, when you connect your GitHub repo and you're just getting started, like where's that configured?
So I think you have to here create it yourself, but like let's try something out, right? Like the way you could potentially do this, the way AmpCode does it is let's use a new repo. I think the MCP one that I have here
Okay.
is like create an agents.md file.
Oh,
And
Doom
then that's
saying
kind of how
git docs
AmpCode does
MCP.
it.
Git docs dot. I've not heard of git docs MCP. That'd be interesting.
Is it this one?
Git MCP, pull an end code hallucinated. That is pretty badass. Git, huh? Yo, really? Instantly create a remote for any GitHub repository? Can you give it your repository?
You know what? Yeah,
That's
you know what I
deep.
should have done for the Go SDK? I should have just gone to DeepWiki and asked it to make me a spec. Yeah, you want to put one of yours in here, or?
Yeah, I think I have one called Vibestamps. Let me see if I could find it. Go to vibestamps.com. I think I have the GitHub repo in there. I mean, it's pretty simple.
Vibestamps?
Yeah, Vibestamps. Yeah. Yes.
And then
I think at the top. Yeah,
there
good.
it is. And here's this one. Try example.
Yeah. Or to chat, I guess.
What's this?
Oh, so it's using the Quen model to chat.
Yeah,
go ahead and
this
increase
is
the
nice.
font size. Yeah.
Built with Sierra Chat. What's that?
Sierra is open source, like deep research type of thing. And this guy made it using the Vercel AI SDK. Phenomenal like UI, UX designer. And so he made an MCP chat. And so you can chat using MCPs. Nice. Like you can not chat. Yeah. And so he made a chat interface, which is really, really clean. And it looks like this guy hooked it up with the Quen model, which is really awesome. Dude, this is a really great find. Thanks, Doom. Doom is a stream MVP. He was my stream MVP last time. I think he's going to take the crown this stream as well. Super useful.
Yeah, so Codex doesn't support MCP yet, right? But like OpenAI has been pushing MCP as part of their products. I don't know where they're at. Can you already do that in the chat?
I don't know. No, not for MCPs and stuff. Not that I've seen. Or maybe in the Codex CLI. I haven't got to play with that yet.
Yeah, can you?
So Doom says it makes your AI less errors and it's better than Context 7. Yeah, I was playing around with Context 7 on my stream and I was just kind of like hit or miss with Context 7, but this GitHub one sounds a lot better, especially if you're using open source frameworks, because then you could just literally ask the questions using that MCP server. That is super genius. Each MCP will be docs, so it doesn't have to each like all of the Context 7. So that's really, really cool.
Yeah.
So where's the link to the resource? Yes, I'll link that below. That'd be really cool. Dang.
Yeah, it is. Where was the URL? It's
yeah.
And I already have like 18 things open. Getmcp.io.
Getmcp.io. I'll put that in the chat right now. So that way people have that. Cool. Amazing. I like it.
Do you have something to code in Codex, Ray?
I think, let's see, what was I going to do for Vibestamps? I think maybe I'll connect that repo because I have that and it's currently open source and public.
Yeah. Yeah, and think of any kind of like features you want to add.
I think
my second one is finished, by the way. It extended the text block contents with a citations field, updated streaming event structures to include citation deltas and citation arrays, enhanced the content block merger to collect citation deltas, add a new test verifying. So I wonder, testing-wise, I think I would like a little bit more tests. So I'm going to say like add more tests for the content block merger and the new blocks. So I'll try that. Yeah, your turn.
Your turn, right? Yeah. Yeah, no, I've appreciated everyone kind of going through here. I think that'd be kind of cool. Yeah, let's go ahead and hook up Vibestamps. I'm kind of, actually, you know what? I do have a couple feature requests. Actually, that'd be really good. Let's take a look at Vibestamps. I'm going to let you vibe on that right now. And so now we're on Ray Fernando's screen. And so if I go to Vibestamps, And then let's just go to the GitHub repo and just kind of take a look. So we're just going to try to see if we can set this up. So I go to my repo here. And so for those who don't know, you can basically give it an SRT file. And this is generally generated. This is how I get the timestamps for all my videos. And I'm using Google Gemini for the backend. And so from here, I created this and it kind of looks something like this. Super helpful. And the biggest hack is the fact that when you make timestamps, you immediately get in front of all of the search engines less than 24 hours. Like it's the fastest way for you to get on social media, like from your video to like on Google as fast as possible. So what you do is like I was live streaming Windsurf's Wave 9. As soon as I ended the live stream, I got my transcript as SRT files. I uploaded the SRT files to YouTube so it could start indexing them and start pushing out the content. I put the timestamps in. Somebody was Bing searching Wave 9 Windsurf. My video was the first one that came up. Their announcement and then my video was right underneath them. My live stream, it was like a 2-hour live stream. Amazing. And then the comments started going off on that. And it was like, yeah, I just looked you up on Google as well. It's like, it's crazy. It's super powerful. So yeah, Vibestamps.com. I made this open source free. And then I have some issues that I wrote for myself just to keep track of them because there were some feature requests. So some people says, how can I ask the model to tweak the timestamps? I think that was a really cool one. It's a good thing I wrote these down because I would have forgotten what I wanted to do. Get a YouTube link and extract out the text and chapters.
Dude, like let me jump in right quick here.
Yeah.
This is one of the major AI engineering skills, especially now, is like having a clear list of things you want to build.
Mm-hmm.
Because literally, if you have like the right tickets, the right ideas, you know, like be able to decompose your ideas into whatever the agents are able to do today.
Yeah.
Not having that to-do list or having it is like what makes all the difference, right? It's like you can, not that you need to send them all off at once because they kind of build upon each other, whatever, but you can literally be waiting for your coffee at Starbucks and be like, hey, let me look at my to-do list. I don't remember what I wanted to do. And then be like, yeah, this one sounds cool.
Right.
Send it off. And it's like, that's what makes the difference now. And like how much you build software is like having a clear to-do list where you're like, oh, this didn't work, or I wanted to do X, Y, Z, because it's easy to forget, right? Like people say, like, if it was a good idea, you'll have it again. Like, no. You can have great ideas and just forget them very easily.
Yeah, it's almost effervescent. So that's like, you know, those little bubbles that go up and just pop. That's exactly what happens. It's like it comes up, you see it, and you're like, that's a good idea, and then it just pops when at the surface if you forget about it, because you'll get more bubbles that keep coming up. And some of them that you'll vibe with.
Great, right?
So I think this is a good one here. It shouldn't require any additional documentation. It's just like someone says, if I want granular timestamps at a shorter time gap, this is like somebody that actually made a comment on X. So I like to use GitHub. I enable the issues for the repo, and this is how I dump like feature requests and things in. And then just for those who are following along as far as like my software development process, they're pretty simple. It's literally like, is it a bug? Is it something in documentation? Oh no, this is not the repo I have in. So basically I like to just say, you know, am I going to look at this today? Is it a feature I should be working on? Should I punt the feature? It, like immediately gets reviewed and just says, I'm not going to work on this. Or is this something that I want to like, you know, this is like a P2. So it's like, it's not super urgent, but I do need to get to it at some point in time. Like keeping that workflow super simple keeps your shipping timelines a lot better. As you start to like have, you know, start to do planning beyond like a couple of weeks, you could say, okay, I want that feature and it's going to land there. And over there, it's going to be like a P1 or something like that. So more on that later, but I feel like that's kind of maybe for me, what I'm really anxious about. It's like, can I take this workflow that I used to do in SWE, like now as a single person engineer, can I just start to like play around with this? And I like small projects because it's going to help me play around with these agents and teach me this. So we're going to kind of learn this together. I feel like this is going to be pretty fun to do. So in my thing here, so it says feature request, can I ask the model to tweak the timestamps? So I just have to now, this is basically from here. It's like, this is exactly it. I want granular timestamps. And it's like, okay, cool. And so why not have Codex do it? So I'll search for the repository called Vibestamps. Vibes. Oh, come on. Missing a repo. Should I just refresh it? Okay. Vibe. You know, OpenAI is not vibing with me right now. We're not on that.
It's yeah. So I had issues with that as well. It would like just now today it seems to work pretty well. Oh, you managed to do it?
Yeah. Yeah, I got it
I
connected and
had
everything.
it would like not find my repos for like 2 days.
Oh, because it sees it in here.
Oh, you got it. All right, good. So I thought you had like the issue which I
No,
had,
I
which is
think I
where
have
it
to
was
scroll,
spinning over and
bro.
over and over.
This is it. I have to infinite scroll. This is the workaround.
Yeah, see
This is such a bad bug.
that I know that was my tweet the other day where it was
Bro.
like the future is here. It's like we have these amazing library management UIs
Activation
and
code required.
chatgpt.com.
Do you have one of those for Floweth? I don't think so. Oh, activation code? Are you talking about Vibestamps or are you talking about which one? I just showed it after a minute. You searched it. Okay. I'm not really sure about something's going on in the chat I haven't kept up with yet. So let's see. Vibestamps. Here we go. Public. All right. Create environment. Allow training on your content. Sure. I mean, it's already public. So it's like, it's not.
Yeah. Better my content than other people's.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not like they could train it and I'm gonna like actually insert these jailbreaks to it so that later on I can reference them. This will only include repos you've linked. Yeah, sure. Let's go. All right. So when you ready, when you are, we picked a few tasks to help you get started. Ask, code, and ask. Oh, so explain the code base to a newcomer. Okay. Pick a part of the code base that seems. That's kind of cool. So you could just say, fix an important bug. Like, hey, I just have I didn't realize I had the security vulnerability just sitting there. Go through the code base and find issues and propose a task. That seems pretty cool.
So the fix a bug is a really interesting one. That's the one I clicked on my work repo this morning and it found like a pretty subtle bug.
Let's do that.
Which was pretty cool.
Let's go ahead and start the task. So I unchecked the other ones, but I took a screenshot so that I can come back to it. So now it's actually working on my task. So I didn't even set up anything. So it should know to just clone it and do its thing, right?
I think it's able to npm install on its own, but you might have to add that to I mean, you will be able to code just looking at the code, right? But if you want to have this like linting unit test loop, you might need to npm install. But yeah, now it's going. It goes really fast.
Check this out. And so because I don't have an agents defined, one of the first steps it does is actually look for this in my repo. I don't see it root, so I'll search for it.
And then it looks like for all kinds of them, it looks like you have cursor rules, you have XYZ.
Oh, it does look for cursor rules. Okay, I like that. I like that a lot, actually. Is there a dark mode? I need a dark mode. How do I get dark mode up in here?
I don't know. Did I have dark mode?
Yeah, you had dark mode,
right?
Oh, you know what? It's probably based off my display. Let me change my display to dark mode. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
My bad. Sorry for the flash bomb, y'all. By the way, I'm in a really bright setting, so this is like light mode right behind me. Like there's mad lights. So, and then I think you're in the library, right? Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm at home.
At home. Yeah. Desk. All right. Cool. Thank you, Doom. Yeah. Like for those who don't know. If y'all don't know, Doom is the stream MVP. He was like the stream MVP last time. Got to hang out for 2 hours, and super useful, dropping all kinds of knowledge as well. This is kind of what this is all about. If you're just watching and tuning in and kind of figuring out like what's going on with these two guys, so we're trying to use AI like the way an engineer and everyone else would use it, and I feel like why not just turn on the camera and stumble upon things as we're going through it. And not everyone in every region will have access to these tools. So you can get a first look at the stuff before you even get to do it. And I feel like this can even help you. You may be able to learn some things and we can kind of banter as well and talk about and share best practices. So if you're down for that, definitely make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like. If you're liking it as well and want to share with some friends, we definitely encourage that to do that so that other people who are in the same boat are kind of wanting to learn together. We're doing this for free because this is kind of what we believe in. I got to learn from other people by being around them, and hopefully you can do the same here. And this is just kind of what it's all about. So our task today is really just to go through and see like how smart is this OpenAI Codex? Is it going to take me a bunch of time to get this set up? And then once it's working, is it as good as what people are saying? And so at the beginning of this stream, we kind of went through a little bit of Manuel's project, ProgramWithAI. And there's a lot of kind of stuff going on there. So then with my challenge right now is to take my existing repo that I have that's open source, Vibestamps.com, to generate timestamps and see if we can just hook it up like we just did. And I just chose one of the basic examples to fix a bug and then see if it could do that there. So as of right now, it says what's going on. Something about set progress. If content, what is it? Why? Oh, this is all of its reasoning. Okay, so at the first loop here, basically it was looking for an agent of some sort. Let me just kind of move myself out of the way a little bit. Kind of move this down here. Okay. All right.
Yeah, what I like about this, and I think this is like a huge difference, is like how fast it is to execute its tool calls, right?
Yeah.
Like this would take a long time. It would like burn through requests if you were to do it in Cursor or in M code.
Yes. Interesting.
And here it's like, I think it's like for them, it's way cheaper and also it's way faster, right? And like
Yes.
speed, agents are interesting in terms of speed because often I can send off stuff to an agent and only look at it like 2 days later.
Yes.
Where I'm like, oh, that was like I had this idea. And then on the other hand, sometimes I want to launch the agent and I want it to be done like as soon as possible because I'm waiting for it.
Yeah.
It makes a really interesting like how you deal with time as a developer.
Yeah, and like
what is the
delegation.
value of
Yeah.
time, right?
Exactly. Yeah, because that's what I'm trying to kind of understand here and get a first look at. So it looks like it tried to do npm run lint, and it doesn't have that installed, right? It's like kind of saying not found because
Yeah.
I don't think I've set up my environment at all, right?
So that would be the next step, right? Is setting up your environment in the settings and then adding like an npm install and whatever else you might need as a preliminary step.
Got it. Yeah, versus just YOLOing the code. So I forgot to reset the progress bar when a new loading cycle begins. I don't know if that's actually useful because in my code, when the user hits new, like it should already reset that state. You know what I mean? Like I don't think there's a way for it to actually really happen.
This is the kind of stuff that like is hard for LLMs, right? And actually, it's a good point 'cause since you were asking about APIs earlier, right?
Yeah.
Like what makes LLMs good? For React, I have like a I don't know how well hidden of a secret it is, but use state is usually where they start making bugs. Right? When you have like 3 nested components with use state, and then they kind of are not able to implement a feature that spreads across these components.
Oh, interesting.
Is using Redux. Right?
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
Redux not only will have like this kind of like project-wide scope of dispatching actions,
Yeah.
but the actions have a very meaningful name. And we were talking earlier about how like names are really important.
Yeah.
More important than like actually the code.
Interesting.
And so when it says like dispatch rewind to top,
Yeah.
not only will it do that in the state, but the LLM knows that if it needs to rewind to the top, it just needs to do dispatch rewind to the top, and it can do so from everywhere.
Yeah. So
And you get that in the logs as well, right?
interesting. I'm going to ask Windsurf about this bug because this is kind of really interesting. Right now with Windsurf, I love using this new SWE 1. It's like free for limited time.
You have to move our faces
Oh yeah.
because we're right on top of Windsurf.
Let me just kind of throw it this way. Okay, I think that'd be fine. So this is the same repo pulled up, and I think this is for the timestamps chill one. And so I'm going to pull up Tower as well, and I have Tower in a whole other window. I'm going to move that over here as well. Yeah, so please, we're just kind of hanging out. We're just like live.
Tower's the Git thing, right?
Yeah, so it's my Git. Like I like a visual one because I had worked with like tons of projects before. And for me, it's just easier to just keep track of things and not lose them. So I was working on the clerk billing implementation. So that was in a separate branch, but I didn't really want to check it in yet. So I'm just going to snap over to main just by double clicking it. This just kind of keeps my head visually straight of like where things are, what's going on. So I'm just going to do a Bun install just to make sure I have everything all set up again. And so what I like about the SWE model from Windsurf is the fact that you can just use this to ask questions for the repo because it's free. Why not? Right? I mean, it's like I get sonnet level intelligence for free. That's the way I look at it. So I think somebody is saying that there is a bug in my repo where I don't reset the state in, what's the name of that file again? Timestamps results, right? Command P, timestamps results. Yeah. Did that not go over? Okay. Testing 1, 2. Okay, cool. I did a code review and they're saying that there is a bug in a state not resetting in this file called timestamps results. I'm wondering if that's valid because I thought I reset everything with the reset button to begin a new timestamp, and I think it's related to the progress. I'm just totally all over the place. Cool. Let me just go ahead and chat. So it's kind of funny. We're using Windsurf here, and I'm really curious. Have you heard about those rumors that Windsurf was going to be acquired by OpenAI, and people are like tossing it around like it's true? Like I've not heard like an official announcement from Windsurf or from OpenAI.
I kind of expected that it was announced by the way that people talk about it. So I guess I guess it's a rumor. I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's a rumor until like it's oh, my bad. Dang, that's so loud. I'll turn off that sound in the settings. Windsurf settings, I think some settings. Sound. There's got to be a sound.
So it's good. I got Codex to break in the way I can break every coding agent.
Whoa.
Which is great.
Let's see. It's under Windsurf settings.
It's white space, man. They all break because of white space. I love it.
Where is the... There is one where it says like on the... When it's done, it makes this little sound. And what happens for me, sometimes I basically just, I straight up vibe code. I straight up like say, I go code and I go do other things and I come back like, okay, cool. Enable, okay, sounds for Cascade beta. Turn that off. That way it doesn't annoy everyone on the stream. All right, so, okay, here's the thing that I was looking up. I'm really bad with English, so we'll figure this out. All right, cool. So it says, like, it analyzed the file, and it says this truck's a progress. These are the different states that I have. So when you have a new timestamp generating, the is loading prop becomes true, but the old timestamps remain visible until the new ones start coming in. Okay, so I fixed this so you add effect. I think this is kind of what add this effect to clear sections when you're starting a new load. So this looks kind of more correct, actually. When the new generation starts, the old timestamps are immediately cleared. The progress bar starts finish. And then so compare that to like OpenAI right now. Like their proposed change says reset the progress bar at the start of each one. So it says set progress 0, and then it says like set progress to 100 and stuff. So I think that's it. Because I actually don't even set it. I just say is loading, and then I just come in here because I guess use case could be that somehow something fails and then it has the wrong state and it's trying to retry again. But that's not as far as I got. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. Let's see. Yeah. Interesting. You should add an effect that clears the parsed sections when it becomes true. And
so
then,
how useful do you find the Codex one? Like, do you think that was, because you didn't say anything, you just said like fix a bug, right?
Yeah. I think it made me, okay, so here's an interesting thing. I think it made me aware of something that I should be taking a look at. Whether it's like in terms of like, I always think about software engineering. Is this like a first priority bug that I need to fix right now? No. I mean, there's been no user complaints about it. I've been testing it. Like I feel like this is a cool bug. It's a nice to have. Does it set me up and cause any regressions in the future? Probably not. Does it create more overhead that like I need to set up a testing framework around this? Probably not. It's such a small repo that like, it's just like, okay, cool. This is actually good practice, probably. I'm still learning React. I'm still learning Effect and all these types of things. So to me, I feel like less is more in some ways. Like I'd rather focus some of the efforts on those feature requests that people were asking for, and then trying to like basically put the block of ice there and start carving those out, instead of having the Codex do these other bugs. You know what I mean? Like if I had to choose my attention and energy, I would probably put them more into like, let's get these other features out because this is what users are actually requesting, and let's shape those out and kind of do the waterfall, because I only have so much attention, right? So
do you have one of those features that you would add for users?
yeah, I think that's the one I'm gonna let's go back to this thing.
Yeah, I asked like a big chunk. I forked your repo.
Okay.
So you were working on the same, but like
Yeah.
their
Perfect.
GitHub thing is buggy, so it's not finding it. Oh, now it has it. It's also funny, the scroll bar to choose your repo, it only goes to like 100, and I have like 400 repos I
Oh,
created,
no.
so it's not able to find it, but I managed to find it. And so you said it's bun install to just kickstart it at the beginning?
So how did you get there to that container image? Did you just go to environments?
Yeah, exactly. So I went to environment. I forked your repo, right?
Okay.
So I have a copy in my organization.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went in here, and then I probably need to install Bun first as well, right?
Oh, you have to do the bun setup script? See, when I set up background agents for Cursor, I just gave the agent instructions to set up the container for me. So it actually gave me that curl script to run. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Wow.
that's like, I mean, I'm sure they will fix it, because that's one of the big values, is like just saying like, oh, please set this stuff up, and like Google whatever you need to do it. I think you can test it here before you actually launch it. And I was saying, like, before, I managed to get it to do like a big boo-boo,
Mm-hmm.
which I was talking about earlier, right? It's like at some point when the context window gets longer,
Yeah.
these things start to degrade, and one of the first signs that they start to degrade is when they get white space wrong, or right, like they will repeat previous source code, and they will just like indent it differently.
Yeah.
Which is not a big mistake, right? But when you use the white space to match things in the edit file tool,
Uh-huh.
which most like M code and most agents use like a pretty standard string replace kind of edit tool, then a single missing white space is going to like mess you over.
Interesting.
And the weird thing is that you're pretty far in your context window. You're already like on thin ice. You introduce like a white space error. You output your diff.
Yeah.
Then the diff fails to apply. So you add even more tokens trying to fix your diff that was already broken. And then they just spiral. They just try to fix like the edit like 1,500 times.
So what could I do in
Each
my
time
kind of going back to my environment thing though, real quick, because I'm in my environment and I don't seem to have it set up correctly, right? Because it's saying about run next and stuff. So I should be able to just go back to my repo and say go to environments.
Exactly.
And then go to this environment, right? And then edit? I don't know.
And then go to edit,
And then what?
And then you can edit at the bottom. You have this thing called like you have this thing called setup script. You underneath, if you scroll down.
Yeah, it doesn't let me scroll.
Oh, you have like a scrolling bug.
Yeah,
that's weird. Like,
oh my gosh, that's horrible.
Oh,
yikes.
so I guess you have to.
Yeah, there's no.
Yeah, that's what I was posting on X. It's
my
like
gosh.
The age of the software engineer is there, because look at how good.
I have to zoom
look
out
at how
so
good
hard.
All these AI companies are.
No way. You're kidding. Oh my gosh. And please don't blame it on Safari.
Layout, man.
Y'all messed up on this one.
No, it's.
Oh my gosh, this is.
You should just put it into Codex and say fix it.
Fix it. Okay, so I have to do what to install? I have to. Can I just do ChatGPT?
To my screen.
I'm just gonna do. I'm gonna use O3. Okay, right? So I'm just gonna like vibe this whole thing out, because why? I mean.
No. Check out something that I wanted to show you earlier, and I think we're there yet now. Yeah. Which is, I put your repo into DeepWiki.
Okay.
Which is like Devin code base thing, and then you can do like create a agents.md as a guideline for coding agents to deal with this code base.
What is this sorcery?
Including setup script to set it up for a container dev environment, like something like that.
What the?
That's how I.
Bro,
that's how I do most of those.
DeepWiki? What is DeepWiki?
You didn't know that?
No, okay. Is this like some NSA thing or like what? Do
So
you-
it's Devin started indexing all kinds of repos on GitHub
wait,
and allow
Devin.
you to ask questions about it.
Oh,
Yeah.
what? So Devin themselves said, yo, we're going to do this anyways. And why don't we just cache it and have available for everyone? So they probably spent like $1 million, right? On this infrastructure.
I think they spent
That's a good use of VC
200K,
money.
but
No cap. What? Yo, best live
also
streams. I swear.
check this out. It's crazy because you get a lot of I mean compute whatever you want to call it for free.
So Jeffrey
Not that the
says,
free
this
is
is
like the
so
important part,
unproductive,
right?
Codex. You know, to be honest, I think that's why we're doing the first look, is because it's like one of those things, right? Once you get everything set up, then you're going to be fast, right? Like if somebody said, like, taste this hamburger and it's like, this is the best thing ever, or taste this pizza, it's the best thing ever. They're like, cool. How can I do that? You're like, okay, let's go get some bricks. Let's go get some wood. Let's get some cement. And like, you're like a month in building this building and you're still not like making the burger. That's how I feel right now with Codex, right? Like you have to do a lot of work, and the carrot that's still dangling in front of me right now is that the promise is this: once I get this set up as an engineer, I know that like supposedly, you know, everything should just be smooth as butter from here on out. When I say smooth as butter, I mean like you can start actually getting really productive with your thing. But it does sound like you do need like a good solid day, half a day, to really go through and make sure you have what you need. Right now, you have to do some like dancing around the cactus type of thing to like understand, okay, it doesn't have internet access. Okay, it doesn't have this. So like I'm learning this as I go, right? And you're probably going to learn this too if you just started playing with it. Like, wait, it doesn't have internet access. And so going back to the environment, and then okay, what scripts do I need? Okay, I'm not a like a DevOps person. So how do I get that set up? And then why, you know, this is OpenAI. Why can't I just chat and have the OpenAI just generate this for me, right? So I think there's a lot of different ways, and I think obviously like the features are brand new, and so they're just trying to get this out as fast as possible. There is this option of using Docker, and I'm not really familiar with that for Next.js, like, or coding with these apps, because I just like to use it in my own environment. And I don't even know if there's like pluses and minuses of that as well, but I feel like you have to start going into these different rabbit holes, and it's kind of frustrating, to be honest. But we'll have to figure this out as we go. So yeah, DeepWiki is cool. Dude, DeepWiki has an MCP as well? Let's go. Wow.
And how do I hide this stuff?
Oh, do you want me to hide the screen?
No. I'm trying to hide. Oh, see, it's gone. That's cool. What I was showing you is like I just ask an LLM to create these files for me, right? Like the agents.md and like the setup instructions here.
Wow. Can you zoom in on that a little bit?
Because, yeah, sorry. So I just asked it to create like an agents.md for me, right?
Whoa.
And then I copy pasted like the instructions from OpenAI in there, said like make it match whatever they say here. And like I don't know how useful this is here. They're like not great, but you know, maybe that helps. I think what is important here is like the bun part, so the setup part.
Yes.
Right, and it would be nice that like they indeed had this in Codex itself, right? Instead of having you do it by hand.
Yes.
So here it says bun crashed. Bun install, bun crashed.
That's weird.
That's great with a segmentation fault at like a null dereference. Illegal instruction.
Quality code.
Bun install. What the fuck?
What the funyuns?
Because it is yeah, I don't know. I'm
Did you copy the
I'm
right
not
command
like
for Ubuntu?
yeah, I think I did, right? Oh shit, did I delete it now?
So let me go
yeah,
to
let me try again.
Wow, okay, yeah, I want to see this.
That way people can see from the start what it is. So I'm going to copy this.
I agree with Doom here, saying that Codex should just read the repo and just understand it. I think it is trying to like understand it by reading the agents file, but it also doesn't want to be like jailbroken, because I feel like the first thing Pliny would do is like, here's some instructions to go download a script and execute in your remote environment. And he'd be like, yep, jailbroke it. And so I get the feeling that these people are very intentionally like not allowing that to happen for the first dry run. And it could literally just be like the feature is just not ready yet, and we're getting what we get. And then this is something that is easily fixed because other companies are doing this. The other part of it is too, is like,
Well,
yeah.
if you Bun is installed already, by the way.
Oh, wow.
The thing is, like, Manus got like, I mean, they kind of like banked on it, but like indeed the first thing people did was like write a script that just like scrapes everything in the VM and just goes like, yeah, look, I uploaded like everything that I could find and reverse engineer it.
Okay.
It really is a big hindrance that there's no web tool, right? Like you see it immediately. There's no web search. Like I can't install my packages. I can't like do XYZ. It's like, it's
a big pain in the butt. I'm curious for the people who did get early access to this, like how long it took them to get set up. I'm not seeing any of that conversation online. Like no one is saying, oh my God, it took me like, you know, like I kind of want to put a poll out there. Like how long did your, maybe I'll do that right now. It's like, how long did your codex take to set up? You know, under an hour, more than an hour, you know, more than 5. You know, like I just want to know, is it half a day? Is it like a full day? Is it like, you know, one day? Are you still setting it up? You just quit? Like I'm just curious because, yeah, I mean, I have a simple repo and I'm like, how is this? I mean, it is using Next.js, but like the linting part is not set up. And so, yeah, I'm just really curious. People are using it only on new projects and not existing ones. I think that's kind of a big L, to be honest. That's like the whole point of using these types of systems to test it. Yeah, that probably makes sense. Yeah.
I've used it on my work repo, right, which is like 500,000 lines of code or something, and it found like a pretty subtle bug immediately. So, and it didn't even like run the tests because I hadn't set that part up. So it is useful in some way, maybe more as like an exploratory kind of thing, or maybe I set it up further to do like a bigger feature to generate stuff with protobuf, but like. Here, the problem is like, because it's not able to download protobuf after I specify it, I kind of have to like set up the environment to build a new feature, not knowing what this new feature is going to require. So I'm not sure, but I started doing something that I usually do with these background agents. It's like I have an idea for pretty big ass feature. Like for example, taking your Vibestamps and porting it to Redux, right? Which is like, it's like a random idea. I know that even if I sit down with Windsurf or with Cursor, it's going to take me like 2-3 hours at least.
What?
Just to get a sense of what it takes. So here, right, like I defined this output of agents is it useful to me? And it doesn't mean that like it has to work to be useful.
Okay.
And so here I'll get a sense of like, well, maybe it worked right away. I'll be like, okay, that's great. If it didn't work right away, but it worked to 90%, I'll be like, okay, this is worth like taking on for next Saturday or so, because I know that I'm so close to the finish line.
I see.
And if I see it making like a complete big mistake, I'll be like, okay, well, I learned something about prompting so that it doesn't do this kind of error next time. Or I can tell it was prompted well enough, but it's just too much for an LLM to handle right now, or for an agent to handle, which tells me, okay, you need to decompose your Redux approach to make it, you know, smaller. But so even if nothing works, right, in each of these cases, I will actually have made progress. And that's what I've been using like Manus for, right? Like here you can tell, it's like I say, port it to Redux, and it's like, well, I can't install Redux, man. It's like, I don't have the internet. And you're like, okay, well, I could go back and in my installation instructions say like, please install Redux. And then do it again. But that's a lot of time.
You can't give it that in the
like
chat.
3 times as...
So like you can't give
I can't.
Here's the instructions to do the install, go do it, and then it kicks off the container to do that. Oh
no, it can't. So that
massive L, bro.
That's what I use.
Massive L.
That's what I use. That's what I use Manus for, right? It's like I'd be like, I have a cool idea. Like, wouldn't it be cool to have a GoPro, like an MCP for archive?
Yeah.
And then I'll literally go like write a program that searches archive and libgen.
Wow.
And do it. And and then I'll fire it off and I'll like look at it in 2 days maybe or so, right?
What? That's
Um,
crazy. That is
so
absolutely bonkers.
so
Okay.
a ton of those where I'll be like, oh, can you create like a course about something that interests me? And I'll be like, maybe I'll read it or not.
Hmm.
Um,
Oh, I see. A course. Yeah,
and
for through
so
Manus. Got it. Dude, you're cooking with Manus. Holy
I'll do,
smokes.
yeah, I spent a lot of money. Or I'll do like crazy stuff. I'll be like, clone Streamlit and go.
Yeah, Chrome's.
And I'll be like, yeah, let's see what happens, right?
So let's answer this
Um,
question from Doom. He says, Codex isn't worth it until it has internet access. I mean, what do you think so far? I mean, based off the bottlenecks you have, like, has it been worth it? I mean,
uh,
once you get past some hurdles, is it productive, or like, what is your take?
it's a big blocker for things, but also once I know what want to do and I know how to set it up,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, so I wanted to add this Anthropic SDK, but I know it doesn't have access to the internet to find it, right?
Yeah.
So what I did is, I still had to tweak things, and it's like annoying to have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But it also wasn't the end of the world. In my startup instruction, I just had it like clone the repo with the docs.
Got it.
And then
Interesting.
I can do this whole thing, and it's really fast to do it. So apparently,
Oh, so you can clone it as a workaround in the environment, then do the request that you want to
yeah,
do. And so you could almost have like an ongoing repo where you have like docs that you update
yeah,
for specific projects that are just wow.
right. Like that could be a workaround where you just say like, oh, well, all this additional context that I need, I'll push it to this repo, and then I know every time it will clone it, and it's kind of like a very slow file exchange kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Massive. Interesting.
but but it is very different from the other agents,
Hmm.
right? Like the other agents, you can really tell it's a loop around Sonnet usually.
Just do it in GitHub Actions.
Um, yeah, this one is like you can tell it's close to the model,
Yeah.
really.
Let me see if I can get something interesting, because I feel like there are people like me who want to use this, right? Like I just want to get around that first hurdle of like making sure my environment's set up. So let me see if I could do something with Windsurf right now. Since I have Windsurf pulled up, I'm going to create a new chat, and I have it, to say, I need to generate an agents.md file, which are going to be instructions to give to a background agent to run in a remote environment that doesn't have full internet access. Or maybe it does have internet access, but to run in a remote environment. I'll need
You know what?
things
I'm going to
in
burn
the
a few
environment.
credits also while we're at it, and
Uh-huh.
I'll take this task that I gave Codex, and I'm going to give it to Manus and Scout,
Oh, that's kind of cool.
and then we'll
Yeah,
compare.
compare. That's a good idea. I need to generate an agents. I think it's agents capital agents.md file, which are going to be instructions to give to a background agents to run in an environment. These instructions are everything this agent will need to set up the Ubuntu environment. Is it Ubuntu? Or like, what is it? Like a remote container or something? Container to run the code. Please give everything in a shell script so that it can execute it. Yeah. Okay. So go ahead and go. Let's just see how good this Windsurf thing is, right?
Yep.
So I like it. It's going through my package JSON. That's smart. And so the SWI, for those who don't know, Windsurf just released Wave 9, and Wave 9 includes this thing called the SWI 1 model. And so I'm using the most intelligent model that they have. It's supposed to be on par with Claude Sonnet. And the reason why I'm using it is because it's included into the Pro account. So you can just do as much of these types of iterations as possible. And the goal is to see if we can actually set up our agents file from OpenAI. And one thing that could be interesting is that let's compare this output to, I'm going to go back or maybe create a new chat, give it the same instructions. I'm going to give it the URL to the agents.md file that OpenAI has, and to see if it maybe generates a better agents.md file. So, right, like, let's see. Wow. Yeah, I think it's going a little crazy here. So, dang, that's awesome. Oh, I see. It's even going through all my different env setup stuff. Wow. Okay. So what I want to do is then, so OpenAI has documentation somewhere on Codex, right, for docs. And in here, was it agents? Using agents.md as defined in agents.md, agents.md to instruct. So, okay, it's just in here. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back to Windsurf. I'm going to create a new chat and have it do that thing there. So I'm going to, okay, I'm going to go back and just revert this because I don't think this would be all the stuff that we need for it. I just ran out of environments. Okay, revert, and I'm going to hit confirm, and then I'm going to hit space. Here is the documentation you need for this. Okay, let's go. Awesome. So it should be able to go search the web. And so it's searching my repo. Well, you know what I found weird is that Windsurf doesn't appear to actually look through this URL. That's so strange.
Yeah, sometimes you have to be like really aggressive on certain things about like, look there.
Did you use? Oh wow, there's a cascading error. Forbidden. Oh, they blocked. They blocked them.
They blocked who?
They blocked the agents going to platform.openai. So like they didn't allow
interesting.
them to do. That's such fooey. Oh man, this is such an. Yeah, let's just go here. What does it do? It's like looks for cursor rules and stuff. Oh my gosh. Can I just copy paste this YOLO? I think that's, oh, it says copy page. Let's just copy page. Yeah. So I'm just going to redo this, revert, everything, confirm. So yeah. Here's the documentation you need for this. Paste, go. This for me is it's a good test of the SWE1 agent. So I want to see how big is this context window. I mean, it's not really that big of a context window, but I don't know why it's failing on all these commands. But yeah, we'll see. Use Windsurf or cursor, configure MCP and crawl, and you're good. Yeah. I think there's a lot of different ways to do this. I think, let's see.
Yeah, MCPs is something I'm starting to dig into a little bit more.
Yeah.
But really is like...
it's been hit or miss for me. Yeah. Oh, I like that it has
it is because the prompt engineering of tool calling is really different. Like I do struggle with it as well. And I found the best way to do effective MCPs is to rename the tool calls. Usually they have like shitty names.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes back to what I was talking about before, is like nouns and verbs are really the right thing, right? Like if you have a verb that's called like call the GraphQL API of GitHub.
Yeah.
Sure, you can do everything with it. But then if you ask like open a PR, it's going to like use the shell, or sometimes it's going to use like this thing. But if you call a tool like open a PR,
yeah,
with a string title and a string comment,
right,
then it will use it like every time you ask for creating a PR. So you kind of want to align the names of the tools to what they do and make it easy to toggle them on and off, right? Like I think the UI of these things is like kind of messy because you actually want to very quickly change your config of tools to do the thing at hand, right? And I think manual human control is like still worth putting into like 3 seconds to have a shortcut change and say like, yeah, I'm like in ticket making mode now.
Yeah.
Rather than waiting 20 seconds and then it like does the wrong thing. And you're like, well, that was pointless.
It's taking longer than expected. All right. So for those who are just kind of catching up right now, where are we in this whole stream? Right now, we're basically still at the beginning. I basically have been able to get my repo up on Codex. there's a problem because what you need to do with Codex is set up the environment. And I am not a DevOps engineer. It's been so long since I've touched that stuff because I've been using all these other things to deploy. It is good stuff to know in your toolbook, but I've just been so focused on building, marketing, and doing some other things that like it's just not front of mind, and I can't tell you immediately what commands to run and whatever. And I think that's what the position that most people are in. I think, unless you do it every day, or you're really good at it, then like that's kind of your lane and like you can really drive through. So you're watching me basically try to set up the specific requirements that OpenAI would like for their Codex thing. And that's an agents.md file as described in their documentation. And then the other thing is just to actually get the setup script running. And so I'm leveraging Windsurf's here, and Windsurf has a new model called SWE1 to generate that file by giving it the instructions. And OpenAI is currently preventing bots from going to their website to scrape the stuff. So I have to just literally copy it using their copy button on top. And the second thing is, and now I'm asking it to generate the script file for this in the second pass here, so that we can have a script to run so that every time I ask a question in Codex, you need this stuff because the OpenAI Codex does not have access to the internet. And because it doesn't have access to the internet, at the very beginning, whenever you do a command, it has to set up this environment, and it needs to run these scripts to install like NPM, linting, whatever stuff that you need in your environment, Bun in my case, so that it can do the thing that it needs to do. So it's like a lot of different setup to get this going, but the promise is supposedly pretty good, pretty big and so forth. So, so to use this script,
yeah. Because like Doom is saying, it's a big L. I don't think it's a big L. I think they probably pushed it. Maybe they released it early because of all the pressure, but I can see where they're coming from. And I think they're going for a different market as well, which is going to be enterprise customers that will then have a much more controllable access to the internet, right? Like I can see OpenAI with the amount of users they have and probably the huge amount of abuse that these users also create being much more careful than startups created by 5 people that just like burn VC money on credits that they're like, we can't just give people access to the internet and a VM because we know what these people do.
Yeah.
It's like my guess, and it's really annoying, but I can tell that this is actually really polished as far as OpenAI's web products go.
That's right.
Like I think they're improving, right? So
yeah.
I find it the speed of it is really appealing already to me, right? Where I can see I'm going to use this quite a bit, even if I do need to jump through some hoops to get the environment set up, right? Especially for a repo at work, like I already got like a lot of value today. And I mean, obviously the web search is like a big issue in terms of how flexible you can be with your prompting.
Right. Yeah.
But
let's go ahead and go back to this. And I think this is all I need, right? So it should just be, sorry, I have to like do this funny thing where, okay, you pipe fail. I don't know why I'm doing this. So I'm basically just saying, what node version do I have? Install node. See, this is where I don't know.
So it already has Node and Bun available. If you go to next to the image.
So in order for me to test the script, I just hit start terminal, right? Is that kind of how that works?
Yeah, it will run the installation. Okay. But see, if you click on set package versions.
Yes.
You see that little button?
Yeah, I see it has universal, like Node and stuff. Okay.
Yeah,
wait,
so
there's a Safari bug where I have to zoom out. Yeah. So this is me running the script in the container, and then I should be able to see Node version has 22. So okay. Bun. Yeah. Bun install. Do I have to? I don't have to clone the repo, right? That's already assumed.
Sorry?
I don't have to tell it to clone the repo, right? That's already assumed.
Yeah, that's already assumed.
Okay.
And I think pretty soon we'll be able to push our own images, right? And then that will be much more interesting. Where
yeah, you can do that in Cursor now, which is cool.
One thing that bugged me with Manus, and I don't know if they've changed it or not, but like the few times I tried, but that was a month ago already, is like it wasn't able to run Docker Compose
Mm-hmm.
And Scout was, which allowed me to like run like a whole Postgres plus XYZ plus blah blah, and like really run my whole project at once, which was really cool because then I
Yeah.
could really say like, look, like run it, like take screenshots in the browser and like tell me if it works or not. And that's something I'm curious to see if you, because I've started like this one task I gave to Codex, and we can look at it, right, which was adding Redux to your project.
Yeah. You're going super
Actually
crazy.
seems,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm so used to these things by now. It's like it has really like rocked my world. So you have to tell me if I'm going too fast, right? Because I did
I think
the
chat
first
chat
thing
is
where it was like,
okay. Let's get a little vote in the chat. Chat, do y'all understand what's going on with program AI right now? Sometimes I feel like the boy does move too fast, or it's kind of like even for me, it's like a little bit beyond. But it's okay. It's okay. It's like we're all like got our different things going on, and you don't have to necessarily understand. But I think as long as we kind of get a gauge, so that I can kind of ring it back in. You know what I mean? Yeah.
you can rewatch the video later on as well. I mean, that's
Yeah.
where it's going, right? Like it's like people who have like fractured ADHD brain
Mm-hmm.
kind of benefit from this
Yeah. I see.
because
Yeah, I can see
like
that. Yeah, because you have all these different ideas that you want to ship and so forth. It's a really big intimidation. Makes me want to stay away from now. I think I actually feel that point right now because right now I'm like, bro, do I have to do this for every repo that I want to set up? Like go through this setup script, like tell O3, tell Windsurf, tell someone to look through my code and set it up. Yeah, I mean, I have to be a DevOps engineer right now. I have to figure out like how to do this. And it's kind of as like a sort of coming from the vibe coding space because I'm still learning the language. There's these skill sets that you eventually will have to learn, and it could be a forcing function if you're totally down for it. But everyone has different goals, right? Like people still have a 9 to 5 job. They still have other things. They're still a project managing and they're trying to do this on the side. But like you're saying, Manuel, for enterprise, you know, that's a whole different story. It's like, yeah, cool. Let's automate this work. Let's get my DevOps guys on this so that everyone else has the environments already ready to go. And once they're ready to go, are they going to fire them?
I want to address these questions because I think they're really important questions, right? Like I
Yeah,
used to have this a lot as well. Like things are speeding up so fast that you kind of like almost petrified
I see.
by how fast everything is moving and how empowered like maybe people were a little bit more senior than you seem to be, right? Like I think I was feeling that, and I've been having this like anxiety where I was like, holy shit, what's going on? Like I don't understand what's going on,
right.
which X even like reinforces, right? Like
Mm.
X is like a really hard place to be. um the thing is that your knowledge and your thinking is not invalidated by anything, right? Like whatever happens, the way you interact with the world is never going to be put into question beyond what you make it. And so what these tools allow you is to go at the speed that is comfortable for you, where you feel you're like kind of actualizing as a, right, to get like a little bit more philosophical about all of this. But if you feel that the world is going too fast, for example, or that you like struggling with a big repo, you're struggling with these things, one thing one thing that I like doing, right, is like, for example, Ray's project, right? It's like I don't know anything about it, but I'm like, um, whatever aspects in there that are interesting um, is something that I can actually learn and like learn slowly enough to enjoy myself and feel that I'm actually growing. And one way I do it is like I will use deep research or I will use Manus to create me what I call a book. So usually it's like 40, 50 pages.
Oh,
And I
oh.
actually print those out. Like I print them out on paper and
Mm.
I put my computer away and I just read through them with like a pen, and and then like
Interesting.
all of these things you see behind me here, all of these ring binders here,
Yeah.
they are these kind of like printed out things that interest me. And then it's like, and then I go over them with a coffee at the coffee shop and just take my time. And I think that's really, really important. I think not many people talk about it, but like the anxiety that these tools can create is huge, because
Huh.
it's literally like, Ray, where do you think software is going to be in a year? It's like, I have no idea. I've been doing this 25 years, and I have no idea what the field will look like in a year or 6 months, for that matter, right?
Yeah.
And that's hugely anxiety inducing. It's like, that's my life, right? And
Yeah, for me, it
I've
feels
been
like these are the biggest threats to like even wanting to go back to a corporate job. It's like if the promise is this in, let's just say the worst case scenario is 10 years, right? And the best case scenario is like 2 years or 3 years, or like Dario Amade or someone saying, then why go back to work corporate? Why not spend those years if you're going to be laid off to just
I
learn the
was
AI and do the work that they were going to do anyways and fire you? Like, why help them?
I want
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And I think at the end of the day, it's what you're doing, and like, right, like if software becomes this like thing that is immediate, right? You talk to a computer and the computer does what you tell it to do, then suddenly what is left in your value as a programmer or someone who likes building software is like basically your understanding of why you're building this software and for who. And no AI is going to replace the contact you're caring about what people can do with a computer.
that's facts.
So what I'm meaning by that is like, say, if you go to small businesses or like local businesses,
Yeah.
or if you have a personal relationship to, say, the person that makes your coffee, or like
Right.
the person that like sells that's at the bookstore, so is like, that's infinitely more valuable than ordering it on Amazon, even though it's like quick to order it on Amazon. And I think that's where software will go, is like, I can build software for my local bakery, and the value is maybe not the software per se, but the value is that I'm building it for these people that I know.
Oh, I like
And
this. Like
right,
humanitizing this AI coding movement, because now more people can be affected by it without like the gatekeeping that used to happen via price, via
it,
SaaS, via like a big VC funded
create,
company.
right, to create a really nice polished software, you needed like a team at
Right.
least,
Yeah.
if not like a huge team.
Wow.
But now I can create a super polished like payment application for my local bakery, right? Or
Yeah.
like there's all these, we were talking about niches, but like and I saw it on X, but like appointment apps,
Yeah.
appointment making apps. Like my girlfriend right now is she's like a hairstylist, and I have like friends who are tattoo artists. It's huge. Like making appointments is a huge deal, and
Oh,
so
right.
they all suck.
Yeah.
But now you can make like a super custom, like, oh, you want to scroll through your, like, you want to upload these pictures, you want to
Right.
like in the morning just like update your profile to do XYZ.
Yeah.
That's stuff that I can vibe code pretty quickly, and I can vibe code it with them,
That's
right? Like
interesting.
we both
Well,
sit in
Mike
front of the
says
computer and
an interesting thing here about large imbalance basically between what's possible and what general population even knows. So there's like kind of anxiety and pressure to jump on it right now to capture the value. And I agree with this because like there are two different sides of it. One of it is if you talk to normal people who like are outside of the bubble, like they're kind of ignoring this ChatGPT thing until it really like takes their job. And they're just like, yeah, I've heard of it. People use it. They make funny images and they kind of don't really know. But then like as something like this comes out and like, oh, wow, this can actually, once everything's set up, you can kind of see where the trajectory is going. Like very few, even smaller number of people, even the people who you see on X, like not everyone even has access to this because you have to be in a certain region and you have to pay certain money to really feel this, right? Other than you're watching this live stream with what we're doing. I always like to think of things like just be curious. And I feel like there is FOMO, but I feel like we're not going to miss out too much if we just start trying to delve. No, I really try to start to dive in and play. And I think that's kind of the whole reason why we're doing this live stream and kind of want to get back on the playing with things. So like hopefully with this environment set up, I should be able to give it this task. So I'm basically using this app called Vibestamps. And so Vibestamps was my little creation to make meaningful timestamps from YouTube videos because it's literally the biggest hack that you can have right now is like you just give it this your transcripts, and then from the transcripts it could generate the timestamps, and within 24 hours or less than 24 hours you're already on Bing, you're already on Google, people showing up for your stuff. Like your video gets actually promoted right to the top, and it's the biggest hack you can have right now, because Google's not going to prioritize you. And so with this, I actually kept track of a feature requests. And so I want the model to tweak the timestamp. So like right now, somebody asked granular timestamps for shorter time gaps and stuff. So right now, when it generates the timestamps, it's like a set number of them. So I'm going to see if Codex can actually do this task for me. It's like, I want you to add a new feature to have granular timestamps for shorter or long, for timestamps, be it shorter or longer timestamps for the output. So now that I have my environment set up that I set up before for all the shell scripts, it should be able to read my code base, hit code, and execute on this task. And so that's kind of it. So when it's running, I'm going to go watch it kind of set up its new container. So for those, I guess, who are just joining in, we basically just have OpenAI's Codex thing that we've been playing around with. And most of the stream, besides us yapping and stuff, was just trying to understand like the limitations of this. And so right now, it doesn't have access to the internet unless you set up the environment at the very beginning. So you have to then do a setup script to pull all the different things you need into that environment, which requires you to turn and put on this thing called like a DevOps app, which is like, making sure everything, the container set up so that you can do the development on it. And some enterprise and larger level teams already have this available, but as like if you're just an independent engineer, just like us who are coding and trying to make money with our own stuff, if you've never done this task, it can take you a little while to do. But it's actually a good practice to have anyways, because once this is kind of going, this is kind of where the future is going to be. Obviously, this is like the first version that OpenAI has put out, just as a caveat. And this is something that will take your time. So if you have lots of repos that you need to do this on, or don't have like, maybe half the day to kind of learn this type of practice, you will get faster with this as you keep going, and you'll figure out your own way to automate this. And by the time you maybe figure it out, OpenAI may already automate that away from you, may already try to figure out how to set up this environment. And so that's just kind of the heads up on that. Let me go ahead and see if I could view the log. So right now it's just trying to get my repo set up so that it can execute like the container, and then start to read my code, and then start to make the changes, and hopefully, run the linting and all that stuff that's on it. Previously, we tried to have it fix a bug, and it looks like it did, try to fix a bug, which was pretty cool. And then that's kind of where we are at with this right now. So there's some people who are saying that they're just going to wait to try this until it gets like internet access. One of the downsides right now that I can see that we've been running into is that like, because it doesn't have internet access, I can't just say, use this URL and go grab the documentation for that. You have to, in the setup script, have it clone a specific GitHub repo that may have that documentation in it, so it can reference that in its tasks in the future. So it's kind of a pain in the butt, to be honest, if you have to do this as of right now. So V1, if you're on the fence and that's kind of a big deal for you because you're constantly referencing, new documentation or things that aren't in the repo or something that's changing a lot, that could be a little bit annoying. I think a workaround too is like if you're working with a certain SDK, I'm not really sure how it's going to fare with that. And like, if you want to get certain APIs or do certain things, it's going to be tough. For me, yeah, like I use like different database providers. I use different, authentication stuff. And then, some of the stuff is still not set in stone yet. So I'm still kind of experimenting around. So it's kind of like a big slowdown for me. And so, yeah, let's see. My repo is still being configured / installed. So it's Bun Install, and it's just installing all of the different things. So it's still kind of running its setup scripts before it even starts to take a look at my code. And so that's kind of what we got going on there. So have you tried Taskmaster? Have you tried that? I've not heard of that.
It looks really interesting. Like I've never tried it, but it's an MCP that kind of like exposes to-do lists and stuff like that. So
Really?
Behind good, well-named tool calls.
Oh,
So it looked really interesting for that, right? Instead of here, I'm showing. So I'm showing here. This is. I mean, I don't know if I'm moving too fast or not, but
It's okay.
remember how I said I'm using Manus quite a bit for these like weirder things?
Yes.
So here I used Manus to say like, please add Redux and RTK toolkit to Vibestamps.
Okay.
And then also later on add storybooks, which is a way to visualize like React components on their own.
Nice. Nice.
And I also added something that's called like MSW, which is like a web service worker that intercepts API requests. So you can do like mock, right? Like you can run your component in Storybook and actually have it do real network requests, but without a backend. So that allows you to like test the real component
Wow.
without having to like mock stuff.
Nice.
And I cheated a little bit because I've spent quite a while creating this document that's like, oh, how to configure like all these different tools you need for Storybook and like for this, because there's like tricks everywhere, right? So I uploaded that along my task to Manus, and that's maybe like my main prompt engineering technique that will probably come in useful for Codex and Co. Is like I have like full-blown tutorials on how to do something so that the model doesn't, spend like $5 installing NPM or something. Which they totally do, right? They'll be like, I'm going to install Vite, and then it's like the wrong version, and then I'll iterate on the version, and then you'll be like, oh, it has done like 80 tool calls for like 2 hours and didn't get to any result.
Speaking of which, mine's is finally installing now. So I've finally got the... what happened?
That's what I meant. It's like...
What? Why did it fail? I don't even know how to debug this.
I think it's the same issue that I had, which is it crashed. But I realized that it has Bun, so you don't even need to install it in your setup script.
Okay.
I think it's exactly the same error that I had, where it's like sec faults at the end.
Really? Okay, so I'm going to try to go back and then go back to my environments, select my environments, and then go back to the setup script area. So for those who don't know, you have to like completely go to like edit and then like zoom out, because I have Safari, and people love Safari so much because it's literally the best web browser you can ever use. If you use any other web browser, you're pretty much trash.
All right.
No, it's just like this is like I'm trying to like get people going. Like, are you awake right now? Are you listening to this? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's okay. So, I need to fix this file to say don't install. I still need to do. I'm just gonna do bun install, bun run build. No, dude, I failed right here.
And I failed there because I already had bun. Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Right. I mean.
Yeah, because I had it run a lint, and then actually it also failed. I think I in my latest thing it said next command not found. Interesting. Let me see, because I thought I had it going, but yeah, this is definitely a blocker, I think, for many people right now.
Wow. How is it failing?
I removed bun install.
Let's look at this pull request.
If you look at my screen,
okay,
this
let me
is
look.
all I have, and so we can see
Hold on, let me move our heads out of the way. So all you have is what?
Bun install.
That's it?
Yeah, and it still ran into issues. But if we go back to say Codex, so I've made many things for your Redux port. I opened like 4 pull requests.
Dang.
But it failed to run them because it like wasn't able to install Next. So maybe we can try again. And so like describe a task on Vibestamps and just like make an amazing tutorial. And those things they're not necessarily a joke, right? Like those are perfect tasks for Manus, for example, because Manus can take screenshots.
Yeah.
And so I had it screenshot like my storybook, right? Like this
Hmm.
allows me to verify like, oh, it was able to not only self-correct,
Yeah.
but also at the end, I can quickly look at it and say like, yeah, no, this is real, right?
Hmm.
So,
Wow.
and Codex doesn't have a web browser, right? So I don't know if they'll ever add it or not, but
Yes.
those are the kind of tasks that these long-running background agents where there really is this potential, like it's possible to like 30 seconds in, they'd be like, NPM is broken, I'm stopping.
Yeah.
Or that they cook for like 30 minutes and something amazing comes out, but you don't really know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I wonder where Codex and like Mcode or cursor background agents are going to fit in, because they are in this weird space where they take long enough that my attention gets distracted,
Hmm.
but I can't like fully let them run on their own, because often they'll just like stop, or
Yeah.
they'll start like literally destroying the code base.
I'm
And
writing I'm just telling Windsurf to see if it can actually help me here. It's saying basically the setup script fails. And so I'm just curious to see how it could give me something better. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
so maybe
so
we have to do
maybe
this. You know what I
that
mean?
doesn't work. Yeah,
I don't
well,
know.
we'll see what this one does, right? Like mine is running, so
Yeah.
it's running Bun Install right now.
Dude, this is insane.
But yeah, Mikey, what the kind of tasks that I give are like these exploratory tasks, more like, right? Where I'm like, oh, wouldn't it be cool to like transform all of this to an event-driven architecture? And I'm like,
Yeah.
this is 100% not going to work. But also, it's going to be really interesting to see what it does, and maybe gather some value out of it. Then afterwards, you have like a full repo, and you don't need to save it, but you can give it to an agent and say like, can you please write like a report about what you did and what didn't work, what worked, what
Yes.
issues you encountered. And
Mm.
that is really useful because it can, right, like it can provide a lot of value and run for a long time without my supervision. And so things I've done for work, we're trying to do a migration to Kafka, for example, right? And I
Yeah.
don't know very much about Kafka.
Mm.
But then I said, like, look, you have Docker Compose, you can run Kafka. Here's like an example task from our repo. Can you just make like a self-contained prototype to show me what it would look like?
Mm.
And that it did perfectly, right? And like that's 2 days of work for me of battling with Kafka.
Yo, I found a workaround.
And
So
nice.
I changed the package version from node 20 to 22. I think that's just the biggest W right
Yeah.
now. So change it to, this is a crazy workaround. Container image, universal, set package versions. Go in here, change it to node 22. Set to 20 right now. Change it to 22.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. I
Look how
keep
much
having
faster
that
it is.
locally as
Everything's
well.
way faster. Like it finished the whole thing fast. It's like, oh yeah, here you go.
I think the
Save
faster and
environment.
not faster is a load balancing thing, because my stuff
Is
was
it?
really fast and now
Okay.
it's like slow as fuck. Yeah.
Yeah, let's see. Dang. No way. Well, I don't know. Let's just see if I can get this to make it work. I don't know. Jesus. I just want this thing. I just want to Codex right now. So I think what I'll do is I'll go back to like my previous chat here. So I'm going to go in here and just going to copy this. And I'm just going to go here and just going to go try again, basically. So we'll just go code. And so hopefully now that I have the environment set up with the right scripts and everything, let's just see if it's possible it's doing load balancing, but there aren't a lot. Maybe that's why also they keep it to the pro version. But yeah, I mean, anything can happen because it's middle of the day right now. So yeah.
I've got something to say for Mikey again, for like brownfield things that agents are really good at is like, so imagine you have like a big legacy app. I'm going to use Ray's app for that.
Yeah.
But tasks you can give it is like add extensive logging with a configurable logging framework, right?
Mm,
So you can give it these tasks that are very time consuming, that need to be done consistently, that are pretty well understood. Like a configurable logging framework, sure, like it will do something that's like decent, but I know the agent is going to be able to depending on how it's built, but like Manus and Scout are really good at restarting themselves. They will like go over every single file. It will add like the same logging to every file. And so you're able, even if your code is tricky and intricate, logging doesn't really usually have like implications that are going to break stuff. And now that you have logs everywhere, you can use these logs and feed them back to LLMs to debug issues or to make migrations that are much more complicated. And this first step, like I'm fine letting it cook for like 30 minutes if it's like millions of lines of code. So finding out which tasks are stuff you can give away to agents is really, it's really interesting. Like I don't have a great answer either. But I had this shift in my thinking as an engineer.
Yes.
Because from like February on to like when stuff started getting really good, I think with like around Sonnet, I don't know, but like sometimes in February, I was like basically I'm playing a slot machine all day, right? I'm like, I've got this task to do. It could be over in 5 minutes, or it could take me all day because the model just like doesn't get it, and it's going to be really frustrating because I don't know what's going on, and I never know what my day is going to look like, right? Like I don't know if this is going to be like a chill day. I don't know if it's going to be like a day where everything happens too fast and it's not chill. And so what changed things for me was Gemini 2.5 Pro and its thinking traces. So when you give Gemini like a fairly full context window with like a lot of little interesting bits in it, the thinking traces start to be like a very systematic walkthrough of your code base and how things relate to each other. So you kind of like pair programming with a really senior software developer that's like really knowledgeable and also very systematic. And so suddenly I was like, look, even if it doesn't work, I know I'm going to spend 10 minutes reading this thinking trace. It's like pretty chill, and I will learn something. And so
That's true.
certain tasks, I'll start to get a sense, okay, the LLM is going to struggle because I don't exactly know how to prompt it. And I don't know exactly how to prompt it because I don't have the understanding of the problem that I need to have. And instead of being impatient and saying like, well, if I just prompt it without fully understanding, maybe it will work. Now I'm like, I will prompt it without really understanding how it will work, but then I'll read the thinking trace and I'll learn, right? And
So,
that was a huge
yeah.
shift for me because suddenly it felt like I'm engineering myself to a solution again instead of just being like, let's try. And if it fails long enough, I'll be like, shit, I'll have to do it by hand. Now it's like, oh, I'll try. And if it doesn't work, I'll have learned something, right?
Fellow Taskmaster Chad. Yo, yeah, that's what's up, dude.
Hey, how's it going, Yikes?
Yo, yeah, it's going yikes, man. $200 a month is crazy for Codex not to have internet access, even though OpenAI got it. I think those are two different things, but there are also things that we just don't know about. It's closed, and this is what they're giving us. I agree that the sentiment is a little rough right now. I mean, right now, I'd love to be able to debug what the hell is going on in this container, and then that's what's up. I saw you're using voice in Windsurf. I've started doing that too. I wonder when they'll start talking back to us, like that'd be sick. That'd be so crazy. Right now, okay, so I don't think I actually need Bun installed because my package is installed. Do I need my packages installed in this environment? Because
if you want to run lint, right, or your unit tests,
yeah. So maybe I'll just tell.
Might or might not be useful.
Yeah, I could just tell Windsurf. It's like, I think Bun is already installed here, but how do I get it so it runs lint? It doesn't seem to be working correctly. Or maybe I just don't use Bun and lint. I just use something else, right?
Yeah, man, Scout is so funny because I told it to like take screenshots of the app that it built, and it was like, I can't access the app, so I'm just going to generate images for you. And then then it generates screenshots of something that doesn't exist. And the first time it did it, it took me a while. I was like, this looks weird, man.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, they're all generated.
Yeah, this checks to see if bun's installed. And if it's not, it does that. Then this is bun list and then bun run build. I think that's what's up. Building project. Run type checking. I just don't understand why it's just taking forever with bun because it should just work. It has the right versions of bun.
Yeah, it's weird. I wonder if it's like a load issue. For me, it's taking forever as well.
Yeah. Like, why is it like that's the whole point of bun? Holy bunions. Oh, okay. So it installed. Yay. Okay. So we got all of my packages installed. Configuring runtimes. Okay, so now it's configuring my environments. And then what's it doing now? Installing dependencies. Okay. Oh my gosh. That's awesome. Finally. God, it takes so long. How long has it been? 6 minutes. Oof.
Yeah, mine is still running and it's like installing. Oh, it failed.
No way.
It failed with the same error that you did. So you put like npm to v22, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it failed in exactly the same way than yours.
Oh my gosh.
That's weird, but like custom Docker images is going to be like really useful. I think it is more enterprise for sure, right? It's like you need to know how to push and publish a Docker image and that kind of stuff.
Hey, Yikes, help me with my setup script because I just need this to run. At this point, I don't even want to run a setup script, but I need to have the linting at least so that it can fix itself, right? I mean, come on. Like, this is so annoying. I tell it not to write shell scripts or change my imports variable names like 8 times in the rules, and it continues to do it. Oh, such a crazy one. They host it on AWS T2 micro, probably low key. I don't know. Like, I need to get that fast, high speed rail.
Yeah, just use Deno. Tell that to Codex, yikes.
Actually, Deno's not even installed here, right? Dino? I say Dino.
I haven't seen it.
I said,
but Bun is fast. Like, this is not a
yeah,
Bun
Bun's supposed to
issue.
be fast. Yeah, it is fast, actually. Big D Dino. Swinging that big D. Yo, just swing that big D, install it. That's all I'm going to say. Dang. Let's see. I'm trying to see if I can get my thing set up real quick. It's not. I'm still waiting, by the way. So we have a task. It is working on my task. Over here, it said, can we just retry again? So can I fail to set up container?
No, it's like a one-shot task.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so now it's running my setup scripts. Let's go. Still the same spot. It installed all of my packages, all in one line. Look at all my packages, bro. Oh my gosh. How? Oh, this is so annoying right now.
This is like, yeah, it's funny. I see, I mean, it's already been really useful for me despite these rough edges.
Okay.
And it's definitely something that I haven't really seen before, right? Like even AMP code, and I haven't tried cursor background agents, but actually, do I have access to background agents now?
Yo, Dino, because all the linting and everything comes with it. What?
Yeah, I don't.
You can build like most full applications, just Dino standard libraries.
Doesn't Bun also have everything?
Full stack. Running in T2 micro self-hosted container. Ugh. Bro, the struggle right now. I'm still here. I'm still stuck. OpenAI save me. Okay, so at this point, I just want to ship features. Like, God.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm going to go back to your screen. Yeah.
I think it makes sense in like a much more enterprisey, the fact that you have pull requests and all of that. I wanted to see if I have background agent. Enable the background agent. Oh, I have access to it, right?
Yeah.
So let me open. The one thing I wanted to add actually, and this is like a real feature that actually might have a chance of working today, is in my MCP tool. So we can do again a comparison of Manus, Codex, and background agents maybe.
Okay.
So the feature that I want, I have this like command line tool I mean, I have like an MCP server kind of thing, but I added like a little UI for it to quickly edit like my Claude config, right? Where I can quickly enable or disable MCP servers.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to add it for Amcode. And I actually don't know where Amcode stores its MCP servers. If someone knows,
Oh, wow.
they're probably going to be in .config, right? Source graph or something.
Yo, Mikey says,
Does someone
no
know
hype
where they
posts from
store that?
Codex. You know, I think I should. That's how you know. You know, if you watch the stream, if I'm posting like hype posts for Codex, being like, yo, we are
We've been
cooked,
bought.
AGI, and then just like me with a picture at the beach. It's like, yo, I'm just talking to my Codex on the beach. You know, that's how you know I'm getting the bag. They're just giving me money. They're just printing money, and I'm just like, yo, this is the best thing ever. Ah. It's like y'all don't even watch the live stream. You just watch tweets. Hey, that's what's up. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Okay. I am determined. As engineers, I'm always determined. I'm going to get this working. I'm going to figure out how to get this working. I just don't know. It's not obvious what's going on. I think a lot of other people are in the same boat as well, and they'll probably express frustration, and they will probably be gaslit as heavy as possible online. They're just like, yeah, bro, it's just as easy. It's like, no, it's not that easy. Yeah. If it was that easy, then we would have just been, this live stream would have just been cooking for like, I would have been shipping all kinds of features. There's stuff that's going on that like, I don't know, you know, you're just seeing it live. And that's kind of why I like to do these live streams. And that's kind of why we're doing this like review. Is just like, this needs to be done. I can't just video edit this stuff out. It's like, that's 2 hours of fumbling around.
Yeah, no, this is, I mean, this is like the reality of working with these tools, right?
Yes.
It's like you do need not just to have them set up, which can be complicated,
Right.
but also have a sense of what you can ask from them and like what you better do with another tool, better do with yourself, better do yourself. So let's try something that I'm gonna do here in Codex, and then I'm gonna also do it in AMP code, which is something which is going to be more interactive, right? Like I'll narrate what I'm doing in AMP code. What I'm going to do is add support to the MCPTUI, which is like the UI command, just to help it a little bit, to also be able to enable, disable MCP servers for M code, which is stored in config cursor users settings.json. So hopefully that will be enough for it to understand what I'm asking. At least that's what I hope, right? Is I want to have, for the people who are joining, I hope I'm not going too fast again, is I have a little command line tool here that I can use to configure which MCP servers are enabled or disabled.
Oh, wow.
And I can edit them, right?
Hmm.
And I want M code here as well. So just to show you, where's my cursor? It's on tab 2. So if I go here, you will be able to see what it does. I'm going to go to the cursor settings. And let me make this a little bit more readable. If I go to MCP here, right? I go to cursor, and then I can disable Blender or enable it, which just allows me to like quickly edit stuff because I like the command line. By the way, it has a plug. It re-jumps to the top. So I want to have this for AMP code, and it's all a fairly easy feature, right? Because it has there's already like 5 versions of it. Sorry, let me find my tab. There's already like 2 versions of this UI, and it's just editing a JSON file. So I think that's like totally within the capabilities of a coding agent that is autonomous, right? So I fired it off in Codex. I'm going to use the exact same task description in AMP code, like literally the same string. And then we'll see what happens. So M code is basically, for those who don't know, it's like source graph's version of whatever an agent is, like a loop with tool calls. It's using Sonnet 3.7. It doesn't really give you much choice of what to do. And it has a slightly better set of curated tools, I think, than other agents, and that's why it does better. But you can see it just calls, like, instead of calling grep, it calls ripgrep. It has like a couple more tools for finding files. So it's like these curated tools are really, really important. They just don't have like run shell and then expect it to run everything correctly. They have like a tool that's called glob that's going to much more efficient at finding files than the rest. And you can see it already is finding, this is a mistake. This is the wrong program. So I'm going to let it go, see if it can catch itself. But this is where being able to, you have to kind of look closely at what it's doing to make sure it doesn't go haywire. And that's like the exact opposite of how it's marketed, right? Where you say like, oh, these guys can go ahead on their own and they can do whatever. It's like, no, you have to be like, one slight misalignment can really push them into the wrong direction, right? And I have one command that's called UI and I have one command that's called UI server, and it's something completely different. And to go to this theme that you talked about, Ray, at the very beginning, this is wrong. This is bad code base organization.
Yeah.
To have something called UI and another thing called UI server.
UI.
It's like maybe okay for humans.
Yeah.
But for LLMs, it's like kryptonite, right?
Yeah. I think I got
so
the thing. I just sent Yikes a Discord link so you can chat with Doom. I know they were trying to chat with each other and stuff. So that was kind of that going on. Let's get back a little bit to my project. So what I am super confused about is I'm having so much trouble just getting my basic environment set up that I'm to the point where I just want to clear everything out and on my repo and just say, okay, like, just what if we just do nothing? You know, I like when I do Bun install, it just doesn't really work. So I just do PNPM install. Like, does that matter? Like, I don't know. I mean, does PNPM run faster? I mean, I thought Bun was supposed to be the fastest, but it seems like this environment that they have set up for us is fairly buggy. You know, because we're still going here and it failed 5 minutes in.
Yeah, and for my Go, it works really well, right? Like, I'm cooking right now.
Yeah. See, like, I hit Bun and like we've tried two different versions. So right now with Ubuntu, we're using 24 LTS. So let me just give it this thing. I want to debug this because I feel like OpenAI needs to know that this is like not cool, you know? ChatGPT. I am having an issue when installing my packages, and here is the output. I don't know what's going on. This is a remote environment, and every time I try to set this up, it completely fails. And then let's see. Look at how it like, oh, it fails here, and it keeps like retrying.
Codes? Oh, yeah, interesting.
Yeah, and so clearly there's an issue with this, and it just keeps retrying and failing.
So, by the way, do you know that there's I don't know if that works for Bun, but like, switch back to my window,
okay,
and then we're gonna try this out. So, you were what is it? The git clone, github.com Vibestamps, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go in there, and so a lot of these tools like Bun install, right?
Yeah.
So you said V22.
Yeah.
Bun install? No, I don't have Bun.
Okay.
But I had the instructions to install Bun in my history because I just tried to do it.
Oh my gosh.
They will have this like weird formatting, and the formatting is like, it's pretty for humans because they use this term codes to be pretty and all.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be confusing to LLMs, right? And so, where is it? Bun.bin. Oh, can I have like source? So am I going to have it in my path now? Okay. So if you do bun install, it's going to do this pretty stuff.
Yeah.
And I think if you do bun install pipe cat,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to, oh, it does the same stuff. Okay.
Okay.
So for a lot of tools, when they realize that their output is not a terminal, they'll switch back to something that's like more machine readable.
I see. Interesting.
And that might help a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know in
I
this
have a
case,
script from O3 that I'm going to try to run
install.
that could help us. So one of the things that's apparently, so it's funny, we've turned, like, by the way, this is a codex. We're actually doing a live technical review of the OpenAI's codex, this new thing that OpenAI released. And I have a Next.js project that uses Bun to install. It's open source. It's called Vibestamps. And I've had issues for the last hour and a half, literally just doing a Bun install in my environment. And for whatever reason, it's barfing because maybe one of the packages is missing and it seems to do this retry loop. And, you know, we've only just recently found out this is what it could be. And so for Manuel, he didn't have this issue. He's using Go, and he just had a really simple setup script saying, you know, set this up when you do it. And for him, he's had no problems with this. He's just been able to kind of fly and generate features and do all this cool stuff. And so that's kind of where we're at right now.
I don't know if they work though.
I don't know if they work. Okay, so yeah. So as of now, we basically have made it this far. And I've been going down this rabbit hole of just trying to learn how to be a DevOps engineer. And the second part of it is you can't in the Codex chat say, go look up this documentation, or can you write me a script for this? I have to, like, it doesn't have access to the internet. Once you connect your repo, it only has access to the internet to run the setup scripts, which can require pulling these packages. And as you see, that's it. Like once it kind of closes down, this container is ready to go with your code, and then you can start, you know, making changes with this. Every time you basically give it a request, it's going to run this little script to make sure your stuff is ready to go. And unfortunately, this has just been a huge slowdown for me. Like I can't have the linting that's running in my environment because I can't even get the Bun stuff to install with the packages and things. It's a big pain in the butt because like that's supposed to unlock the power for me. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. So it looks like we're just kind of spinning our heels, and man, this is just super frustrating.
So mine has created pull request, which I don't think worked though. Oh, my cat's getting annoying. I'll have to. Actually, it looks like it might have worked actually. So let's try it out. If you go back, so like mine just like worked for 6 minutes.
Yeah. Nice.
It oddly enough didn't have any issues like installing the Go packages, which is just as much downloading as like your Bun stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then it did a ton of stuff where it like looks through the repo, and then so we were talking earlier, right? It's like it feels a little bit like playing slot machine, where you're like, oh shit, this didn't work, right? Where you go, you scroll right to the end. That often there's always a reason it didn't work, right? Like these things are not magic or not completely magic. There's always a reason why it chose to do the thing that it chose to do. Maybe it's a wrong word. Maybe it like just didn't find a file. Maybe it's bad luck and it like output the wrong token, but there's always a reason why it veered a certain way, right? Like they are reasonably understandable when programming. And so even if it didn't work, reading through these steps, and thankfully there seems to be a lot of like info, is going to be pretty instructive to be like, oh, I see, like it's because it found this one file that confused it, and that's going to be assigned to maybe rename things or re-architect your code base a little bit differently so that this kind of stuff doesn't happen.
Right.
Or you just prompt it differently, right? But like in our case, we can look at these commands or like the way the model interacted with the repo, and you can see it does grep quite a bit, right?
Yes.
And so grepping is dangerous because it can, like if you grep for amp, like what is it going to find? Like camp?
Yeah, right. That's interesting.
Right? And so those things can be interesting where you can say like, oh, well, we want to add an M code feature, maybe we should put in a file that's called like M code
Mm-hmm.
guidelines and then ask the agent to do the thing,
Mm.
right? Like there's a lot of tricks you can apply to help it go along by just looking when it went off the rails,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
And doing that takes a lot away from the kind of slot machine feeling, because I know that this time I'm spending reading the log is going to be time well spent, even if
Mm-hmm.
it didn't work. I will learn more about my tools. I will know how to prompt this agent next time.
Yeah.
If, however, you're impatient and you kind of skip this thing reading the logs, right? Like then you actually wasted your time and you wasted money because you didn't learn anything. And even if it worked, there's still like value in going like, oh, well, why did it abort linting? Like, what is going on here?
Mm.
Is it maybe linting for too long? Like, should I remove linting rules when I'm in this agent to avoid doing that? Like, right, there's like a lot of things where, I mean, it's weird to say like, maybe I'm going to disable the linting when I give this stuff to Codex.
Right.
But if that's the difference between me actually having success and me
Right.
having aborted runs because it took too long, then like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. So I think it's hard for developers, right, to be like, well, I'm just changing the code for this like random LLM requirement. It's like, no, I have a sense of what a good API is and stuff like that. You have to let go of that and just like focus on, does this tool give me value? And then does it give me enough value for me to change the way I work?
Mm. So I think what I'm trying to do right now with my repo is just get the real basic thing working. And I just asked O3, how do I get like linting installed? You know, it's like literally just from my repo root, just add these types of things. Like these are already in my package JSON, right? So I kind of, yeah. And then in Codex, basically what I'm telling it to do is like, why don't we just clean the cache? It should already be empty anyways. Remove these if they are installed and just do a bun install, right? And then here I could just basically, I'm just telling it to avoid the lock file, just basically have it build its own. And let me just see if I can save the environment and then see if I could run this again. Because I'm basically just having issues with just trying to implement this simple feature here. And so let me just do this here. I want you to just try again. So it doesn't let me retry in this thing. So literally I have to go back, hit code and see what's going to happen. And it's possible that I don't understand why it's so slow. I guess that's the other problem. It's like, it's doing a bun install and it's, you know, it's hanging on a package and it's not telling us until the very end. It seems to retry for like 5 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's not, I think what could happen is like they go through a proxy to download packages. And I don't know how the Bun repos, all of that do it, but maybe for this one package, it's like hosted on a machine that doesn't let the proxy access it or something like that.
Interesting.
Right? Like a lot of people
vulnerabilities.
Tarp it.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like people just don't like OpenAI, just like Tarp it them, right?
Oh, I see.
Maybe it's something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I think, so even if this is like frustrating, right? Like the problem with AI tools is that they change so quickly, and like maybe a tiny little tweak that fixes it suddenly makes it like 20 times as valuable to you as it did before, right? And you won't ever hear about it because people are just like,
trashing it,
like Windsurf v7 cooks so hard, and you're like, well, no, actually Codex fixed the bug that I was having, and now Codex is like the thing I need.
Yes.
So,
well, same thing with O3.
To have to.
Yeah, I just started using O3 for everything because it's better than Perplexity for me. You know, like I just stopped using Perplexity. Now I stopped using Google. It's like, why use Google? You know, I have the most grounded search engine. Yeah.
Monthly subscriptions is definitely where it's at. Like, don't get yearly subscriptions because in 3 weeks you'll change.
Dang, that's facts. So would you get a yearly O3 ChatGPT Pro thing?
I'm on the monthly still.
Yeah.
But so far, right? Like when I got the $200, I was like, I'm just gonna try it just because of deep research.
Yeah.
I want to try it out.
O3.
And then sadly, I was like, oh shit, I can't go back, right? And like now with O3,
Yes, bro.
O3
O3.
and deep
Oof.
research is just too,
It's too good, man.
yeah, O3 is just, and I don't know if you've seen O3 is like it sprays very far probabilistically, right? Like it makes a
So
lot of
good.
sense with O3
Mm-hmm.
to retry your queries.
Yeah, monthly everywhere. I just clawed last month for MCP. I have clawed for the year. I think my year thing is going to come up soon. I might cancel that because ever since O3, I've not been popping into Claude. I'm just, it's the weird. I was a huge Claude stan. I was crazy Claude, everything.
Yeah, but have you tried their new search?
Yeah. Oh, the web search.
Right? Like suddenly you have that, right? Like where it's like, oh well, if next month Claude comes out with their deep research, then what? You're gonna get Claude again, right? It's like this weird. It really feels like that, especially lately, where like every 2 weeks I'm just gonna switch tools because they actually work better for me, right?
Yeah. All right. So I'm so tired of
it's
waiting.
exhausting.
I'm just going to just drop this whole bun thing. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to tell it to do PNPM, even though like, yeah, I don't use PNPM personally, but I think we just need to do that. PNPM.
Yeah, try it. I mean, that will be something that's valuable to learn as well, right? It's like, does it understand when you ask it to do PNPM now?
Yeah. I guess, yeah, because I mean, it should already have like the linting scripts and everything set up if I set that up here. So on my side, I'm just going to do just PNPM install in my setup script. And then just going to go ahead and just make sure it runs in the terminal and then just see what happens. So apparently this test, I think, is supposed to install the packages, you know, here on the side. Joining from Paris, jet lag, O3, let's go. Yes, for sure. Abandoned ship with Codex. Yeah, we should have done that a long time ago, but we got to give it a fair review. You know what I mean?
No, I'm cooking with Codex.
Yeah,
like,
he is cooking.
It's
bro, it's a me problem. Look at this PNPM. Of course, it's gonna work.
no, I think it's the Bun problem because
Yeah,
but
bro,
I'm curious. Like this is really promising because it's so fast when it runs.
Yes.
That if I think once your Bun issue is fixed, like
Right.
might be
Yeah, we got to like tickle.
I don't know. I'll be
the dependencies
I'll
here.
be following this closely.
Yeah.
It does seem to have load issues for sure because it interrupted like just the formatting of mine.
Yeah.
Like there's something weird going on. I think it might be load issues.
Yeah.
To be fair.
That would make sense. This is still going, by the way. So I'm going to let this keep going. I'm going to just try the same task over here, but this can now use PNPM. And let's just see what happens. Theoretically, it should be really fast. By the way, my phone has all these updates. Every time you run it, it says like starting task. On the home screen, it'll just say starting research at the bottom, which is kind of cool. So like hopefully, yeah, the dream scenario.
Oh, is it in the app on the iPhone?
I think so.
Codex on the app?
It says starting research, so maybe.
Oh, I'm using my phone as camera, so can't look.
Oh no, it doesn't. Okay. I thought, well, it says starting research, so I get the notifications about it. But I think that's it. Hey, it's working, man.
Yeah. I think Bun is hitting an HTTP server that TORP hits the IP range or something like that. Could totally see something like that.
Look at this. Finally. Okay, so
yeah, because when it's fast, it's like fast as fuck, right?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. Dang, really? We went through the street for like 2 hours just to figure out this, like, just don't use Bun.
Yeah.
That's such a shit. That's a cry. Oh man. Yo, Jared, y'all need to hit up OpenAI and start to connect because that's not cool. That's not cool. Oh my gosh. But hey, we're cooking. Let's go. It's actually reading and doing stuff here. So what's it doing right now? Let's just kind of see what's going on. All right, so now that we have the dependencies installed, look at 2 hours later. Bro, this whole video is just going to be like, yo, just skip to the 2 hour mark, 2 hour and 23 minute marks. Yo, it's like, actually, I'm going to retitle this like how to debug OpenAI Codex. Don't use Bun. It's like, that's so sad, man. I love Bun. That's such a shame. An extreme shame. Okay. It's checking for the agents.md file, which I had originally defined, but did not check it in. So it's obviously not there. And then README mentions Vibestamps. Okay, so it's checking the files. User wants to adjust the links, potentially controlling the minute, second, and even smaller units. Okay. I'm checking the cursor rules to see if there's any instructions, and it does see my cursor rules, which I define what the AI SDK does and what my actual project does, and according to this, my tech stack. So it found more rules, and so it actually sees this documentation I have for how I install shadcn components. So this is the sad part. If it's going to generate code using shadcn to get additional components, it can't do that in this environment, right? Like it can't execute shell scripts.
That's the big that's really like a big issue, I think, at the moment.
Bruh.
I'm sure everybody who tries Codex is gonna be like, "What the fuck are you supposed to do?"
Bruh. Oh my god. Oh. Chat, are you with me on this? Okay, so okay, all right, okay. Let me compose myself real quick. So, as an engineer, what I do is I have rules that are defined in my cursor rules project that say I use shadcn because I love that project. It's the basis for how I get buttons. I don't want to reinvent the concept of buttons, cards, and all these different things that need to be used. So whenever I need new code, I tell the agent to go run this, bun install and then whatever component I need. So I have a rule for that. In OpenAI's Codex, now that once I type in a request, I don't have access to the internet. So if the agent needs to go run that command, it's going to try to run that command. It's going to fail because it can't install the component that it needs. So it's like it needs an accordion. It needs whatever it needs from shadcn. It knows about it because the LLMs have been trained on it, but it's not going to be able to execute that command. To me, there should be an allow list for specific components like this that will allow it to grab that and put it into my repo. Because it doesn't have internet access, that's a huge L for me, because that's how I build my software. It's like I want these composable units. I already have the styling defined. I'm using Tailwind v4. So whenever you install the button, it's going to install it and be shaped exactly the way that I had designed it. Okay.
Yeah, I can see them. I can see them keeping that up, right? Like I think this was maybe just for launching or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Oof. I got Samba's number in my back pocket. Let me whip it out for you. Sheesh. Okay. Quick recap of where we're at. Sorry, joining in late. Yeah. Recap. OpenAI Codex, I think works. Oh, man. Okay. I guess let me recap it in a bit. I just want to make sure that this feature kind of lands, so that in a couple minutes, let me get to that recap. There's a lot of thoughts I want to unpack here, but I just want to see it actually do something with my code, because I just had been struggling forever to get this working. But it actually delivered a diff for me in 4 minutes, right? So I added the ignore file for the PNPM lock YAML. I think that was my workaround for Bun, right? It's expanded the API request schema to accept the new granularity field. I like that. Okay, adjust the API route to intercept this granularity. So it's going to pass it into my route from the client side. I don't like that design at all, actually. Oh, that's cool how you can hover over the code snippets and it tells you what two code snippets it's referencing. That's super handy. That way I don't have to scroll through the PR, which is pretty cool. So it does basically, it gets the validation result of my data and then assigns in these two constants. And we're just going to say its default timestamp range is just going to be this. So this is going to be something that's going to be defined in the code. I'd love to define this as a file, so that way I don't have to go into the code and update it. Okay. Let's see. And so now it's actually trying to update the process. So this is actually part of the prompt that it's referencing. It says process the video length. And in the actual prompt, I get the video length when I actually understand what the timestamp file. I read the last line and I say, okay, what's the actual length of the video? And I put that into the LLM prompt so that the LLM doesn't, when it does hallucinate, at least we'll do another retry to say, hey, I did make up, but this timestamp that's too long or something, or it's for that type of thing. Don't be afraid to be more selective. Okay, so testing bun lint with warnings, and so it did run a bun lint and it found these warnings. So that's interesting because in my package.json for this repo, I do have like bun for everything. So it's interesting that it's using that for the linting. So here is the code that it changed for this guy. And then here's the page that it's doing. It's saying we're going to set a granularity thing, and we're now going to receive the granularity as far as these hooks and stuff. Okay, that's cool. SRT uploader, yeah. So now in the UI, we're going to say timestamp detail, and then on change, we're going to have a default, fewer, or more. Okay, so people can select one or the other, and then it's just going to, based off of those, just get the number of timestamps. And then I don't know what it's doing here. File too large. It just linted itself, I think. I have a Zod validation, so, oh, and it added the granularity. So it's expecting these 3 values. Otherwise, it's going to error out, like if somebody's doing that. So it's the client side. And then in the lib file, it generated it twice. This is actually where I want it to. Oh, this is for, okay, this is the client side components, and then this is the server side. I don't understand why I should just reference this. Yeah, I should have just referenced it from here. I don't like this. Trash. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I don't like this change. It's not. I think I like the granularity idea, and I think, what do I want? I originally had 5 to 12. Now I'm changing it to a timestamp range, and the range is going to be basically 5 to 12 as a default. Fewer would just be 3 to 6, or more would be 10 to 20. And so part of Vibestamps is maybe keeping it simple, and I think that's kind of like a design decision for me. It's like, do I want to just give users 3 options, like totally Apple style, or do I want to give people like yet another choice of something to do? And I feel like this type of feature would benefit from like a pro mode. So like by default, it would always just give you 5 to 12, and I'm just letting the LLM kind of YOLO it, right? Just based off the content. And then I feel like if someone has an intent, I want to give them that power user access without saying like, oh, I think I'm just going to baby you even further, right? Like, I feel like this is an either or type of situation. It's like, you're either just going to come here, you're happy with the default, or you're a pro user and I'm going to give you the pro tools and, you know, select your granularity type of thing. So I think I have to, like, this is an interesting conversation with this to have this type of thing, because I didn't have that intention to begin with. And this is maybe something that usually happens. You give it to an intern, you're saying like, hey, go ahead and implement this feature and see what they do. So I'm going to see if I can give it this update and see, just explain this exact detail to it and see what's going to do now. So does it generate like an additional thing? We'll see. Request changes or ask for a question. Okay, so as far as timestamps granularity, I kind of want a pro feature. I'm assuming by default, the regular range that I had was sufficient. But for the person who really has the intention, I want to give them the tools they need to get the perhaps number of timestamps they want, or a certain range of them. And I want you to decide how we can best do that in the user interface while keeping it as clean and simple as possible. I don't want to have tons of options, but maybe a check mark for pro mode or some type of thing that will give users an indication that there's additional settings here without being right in front of their face or getting in the way of things. The design should be really clear and simple, similar to the way that Apple likes to do their design. So I think that's kind of the way. That's my change. That's an epic prompt code. Sweet. Okay, let's let it do its environment. Oh, so it sets up another environment? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it restarts it basically, right?
Wait, so then what happened to the previous code that I did not approve or check in?
It's still there, I think. I'm not fully sure how they do it under the hood. I think it might be git commits. I'm kind of in a similar situation where it did something that's good. Both Mcode and Codex did something that's pretty decent, but I underspecified that the JSON they're supposed to edit is like this weird VS Code JSON with like comments and like trailing commas and stuff.
Oh.
So I also have to like update it. And I think they do 2 commits for that.
Oh, let me see your screen real quick. Well, mine's just kind of floating along. Oh, I see. You're just kind of cooking right there. Gotcha.
Yeah. So to give people an update on what I was doing, I was updating this command line tool that I have to edit my MCP configurations for different editors and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to have Mcode there as well to configure the settings that are in Mcode. And those are configured in like the cursor settings. At the bottom, there's like AMP MCP servers, right? And those I want to enable or disable.
Mm-hmm.
That's a task that I gave to both Mcode, which is Sourcegraph's kind of tool, and then I also gave it to Codex. So right now we're testing the Codex branch, and so when I run it, I see there's an AMP config in here, and when I press it, it tells me, oh, there's like a failure to unmarshal the settings.
Got it.
And I had exactly the same error with Mcode's version. So now I'm like, oh, is that like a problem with the config file actually? And yes, it is, because it is. If you look at the settings file, JQ cannot parse it because it's like this weird JSON where you can have trailing commas.
Oh wow.
And you can have comments.
Oh wow.
So I'm just telling it to Codex now, right? Like I'm just going to say, wait, where's my browser?
Yeah.
I'm just going to say like, look, this is actually trailing commas and comments as used by VS Code. And I won't do anything else. Like it has to figure out which package to use and all of that, right?
Okay.
So I'm going to do the exact same thing in AMP code as well. And why is my browser stuck? Oh, there it is.
Got it.
So I'm going to go back to...
what is this?
So this is Cursor
with I see.
AMP code running.
Oh,
and
AMP code, got it.
I'm going to go back to the branch of that I was using before, and I was just going to tell this to AMP code. And AMP code did here the thing that it does pretty frequently and that agents are sadly prone to. And I don't know why AMP code does it so often, but it has a little bug where it cannot apply its changes, which happened very early, and then it just like starts trying to do it over and over and over again. And every time it fails, and then at the end it's like, fuck it, I'm going to write an entire new file with everything in it, and then I'm going to copy it over to the previous file. But then it's like not able to edit its own new file, and then it like starts doing like, this is like the spiral of death.
Yes.
Which probably all goes back to like a Unicode character or like a space.
Interesting.
Like they're very... And once an agent goes into one of these spiral loops, like they can literally destroy your code base. It'll be like, man, it's been 5 times where I tried to apply this test. I'm just going to delete them all and start from scratch. And then you're like, bro, what?
Chat, let's go ahead, chat. Take a look and see how my repo's doing. So far...
Hold on, Ray. Let me add one more thing. If you go back to my my page, because this is probably pretty important for people to see. I should add to my agent.md.
Oh.
So in Cursor, I have this.
Let me get out of the way real quick and kind of get my heads. Move our heads in the Cursor rules. Go on.
I have this rule here. If I seem to go down too deep in a debugging fixing rabbit hole, remind me to take a breath and think about the bigger picture is like a good one. And then it says like, oh, I think I'm stuck. Don't try to fix errors by yourself more than twice in a row. Right. So I really should put that into my agent.md.
That's a really good thing. Wow. Those are good guidelines. Yeah. Move you as well.
Yeah. They're really useful because like you'll be in a chat and then it'll be like, no, touch grass, please.
Touch grass. Yeah. I like the touch grass like rule. Oh my gosh, This is crazy. Yeah, this is this is
Yeah,
raw coding with agents right now. That's the state of it. I mean, you're just seeing first look, and I am hoping that this is the worst that it is. That's wild. Let's take a look at my screen right now. So my screen, where are we now? Oof. Okay. So I just want to add this granularity to my code. And so it's spun up in environment, internet turned off, right? And now it's basically checking again for the agents file, doing that whole loop. I'll make a pro mode toggle for advanced settings. Whoops. Oh, it's finished. Yay. Okay, cool. What happened? So linting failed due to inability to access the NPM registry. Okay. Included is show pro option state and SRT to hide advanced settings as needed. Okay. And then wrap the granularity dropdown with a conditional block and added a pro options toggle button to reveal it on demand. Okay, so this is, whenever you toggle it, it's going to show timestamp detail. It's going to have the target value fewer, default more. And I think what I was hoping for was instead of that, I actually want the user to maybe show more. I think wrap the granularity down with a drop down conditional block. So this is just what it's going to show when you have show pro options, and it's going to show this. And don't we want the user to just type in the number of timestamps that they want, or at least show them what the different numbers of timestamps there are so that they can modify or add more? I feel like we can do this with the slider bar and maybe like a number input so they can just show more or less or some custom value. I think that's what's interesting is that it does look like it has some previous context for what we were working on, which I was really curious about. And like, is it going to rewrite the code or do anything different for that? And so that still kept the previous code and looks like it just added more options to the UI. It's really crazy because, this is like a simple fix and I'm still having to review it, which is cool. And yeah, like, I don't know. I think I kind of have to step away from this a little bit and kind of come back to it.
It's time to touch grass.
Yeah, it's time to touch grass myself because I'm a little jaded that it took me 2+ hours to figure out that Bun install is just not compatible right now in this specific timing of the environment. When we were doing that, it just kept failing over and over again when PNPM installs perfectly fine. And, the way that installs packages, there's some underlying differences. I tried with Node version 20 versus Node version 22, and it's still, kind of errored out in the same way. There's this that's actually what happens when you're trying to be your own DevOps engineer, is that you're going through these package rabbit holes with different versions of Unix that are deployed depending on how many CPUs, memories, and different things are going on in your instances on AWS or wherever you're hosting them, right? You're like, oh, wow, this whole thing fails. I just need to up the memory or just, add more CPU. And like, you only know that if you spent that time engineering, working on those specific configurations. And it's sort of the reason why certain containers aren't updated, because you try to do updates and then it can bring your whole app down and you just revert back and just kind of stick with it until some bug is fixed in the future. And so the reason why I'm bringing this up is because it's sort of kind of what happens in that environment. And I'm hoping that in the next version of Codex that this goes away. Right now, we have to figure out, unless you have the golden path of everything just installs perfectly. I'm using a Node.js project with PNPM. It just installs fine. You're going to be okay. Now you can start iterating. And so I don't have that. To me, that's an edge case that really kind of ruined my experience as a first look. It's not going to ruin it going forward, but I definitely have to go swim in the ocean and just chill out. That's where I'm at right now in Hawaii. It's like, all right, I spent too much time on this, but is the investment in getting this figure out worth the promise? What do you think, Manuel?
Yeah, I think it is. Just from seeing how fast it is, points to what it's going to be able to do. I think it also shows that they might be going after a different market than the vibe coding crowd, where, you know, like setting this thing up, even if it takes like an engineer a day to set it up for the enterprise code base, or you're able to provide your own workers to do the work, right? To be like integrated with your own testing framework suddenly, because I can tell already from the UI, it's like much more polished than I expected actually. And it has, uh, you know, the whole GitHub OAuth, all of that. That's like not fun stuff to create. And I think it's like created with companies in mind and not individuals.
Yeah.
And I think that's where they're going at, is like, okay, we have these things that a team can work with, that do PRs, that have this like very controlled execution environment, versus things like Manus and Scout and stuff like that, which are more like just more YOLO kind of, right?
That makes sense.
But it
Yeah, it
comes,
has like a spread. So like, are you more broad or are you very kind of specific in terms of your engineering needs?
because I can already tell, like they have Docker images, they allow you to choose like environment with like a nice pop-up that's like, right, like as far as like polish from OpenAI goes, this is pretty polished.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're heading our heads, or like you more than me, is, I think it's a big blocker, right? Because like, especially now that I'm asking it to fix this thing, it's like, well, you should look for a third-party library, you know, to fix the issue that I'm running into, and it can't, which is like a big deal, right? Because AMP code is just like, yeah, sure, I'll search for the proper library and just install it. You have the same thing with like chat CDN. MCPs are really useful for agents, like way more than I think people realize, and they will have to adjust to that because the competition is fierce, I think.
I gotcha.
Um,
So Codex, in the way that it is today, who do you think that will benefit the most right now? Like if you're hearing a bunch of chatter on Twitter or like outside of Twitter, you're just trying to, is Codex right for me? It's basically the teams or corporations who have these controlled development environments
I
that already
I
may already
think
have a
that's
DevOps
true.
team, right? That's already running and they have like scripts that kind of deploy the code already that do this in this very repeatable manner. So now you're kind of sort of taking the shoulders off the DevOps team because they just focus on making sure everything's okay and then put it back onto the engineering team to like start to iterate and maybe get the QA team in there, start asking questions to generate stuff for them and maybe get the project management team to like, I don't know,
Yeah,
like
I
you kind of loop
I
all of
don't
that.
know where it fits in, because it,
Okay.
like the limitations of not having the internet really restricts the amount of stuff you can even fix, right?
Mm.
Um, but it was able to find like two pretty subtle things for me today, and like even the stuff that it codes blind is like, right, like it
Yeah.
coded this thing blind right now,
Facts.
and it did it, right? So the fact that I can just click on a thing and have a GitHub pull request is already really, really nice for me, right? Like it just like saves me a lot of headache in a way.
That's a good
So
point.
I'm
Yeah. Yeah. I like this so far too, because this is kind of, you know, I keep iterating on this and it didn't lose context. Like I don't have to make new
no,
chats. You know what I mean? I'm still in the same
it,
chat
it
window, right?
it feels like a different beast under the hood, which is very different from like AMP code, Cursor, Windsurf,
Mm.
Scout, Manus. They all feel like the same kind of thing, right? Like
Yes.
this one feels distinctly different in how it operates internally, in kind
Hmm.
of the same way as like O3 feels distinctly different from everything else out there.
Wow.
Um,
That's really
and I
true.
think
Yeah.
I think it's an O3 kind of thing under the hood, right? It's like what
Mm.
I mean, I'm really not an expert, but I think that the streaming tool call, which I think Anthropic also allows you to do, I'm not sure. I think OpenAI, their new API allows you to, what basically happens, I think, is that you do the tool call, and then while the key value cache of the LLM is still active, stream it back into the context window. So you save, right? You save reloading your entire context and paying for it every time you do a tool call.
Yeah. Wow.
And so, I mean, that's my suspicion. I always wanted to learn enough about, local inference, you actually know about VLLM enough to help me do that one day.
Not really,
To
but
like stream
we
pool
could fake it
calls,
till
right?
we make it.
I
We'll
don't know.
vibe it
Like
out, bro. We'll just yeah.
but it feels like a genuinely different tool so far, and I don't know how long it will take them to remove these limitations, because I think everybody's going to butt their head against it. So like, I can't even ask it to install a library. Like, what am I
Yeah.
supposed to do?
Yeah, shadcn was a big killer for me. It's like, I want you to compose views. I want you to do these features. I don't want you to, grab this. It's like very trusted
Well,
types of things. Yeah.
you've seen where I added the thing as a submodule, right? Like maybe that's just
Oh,
how you can get around it for now. We're just like, well, I know I need these libraries. Please do it, and then just have it download everything as a Git.
oh my gosh, bro. Oh my gosh. Well, let's see if we can check this code in, because I feel like at this point, I'm just going to YOLO this.
Yeah,
Just test in production,
I
right?
have to bounce off as well.
All right, cool.
I have to bounce,
Yeah.
so I don't know how that works with the stream sharing.
Oh, yeah. So this is the feature that just landed, and Vercel basically builds these like feature environments. And so this is basically what we built, just through the chat.
Oh, you have it running already?
Yeah, without checking into main. Every preview branch, whenever you check in like a PR,
great.
yeah, it runs it in a preview branch, which is
So
super handy.
It did work, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, oh, how many timestamps do you want? Like, okay, I could probably have some.
So that's the thing. That's the thing that would be interesting for you now that you kind of have it, right? And you have like a fair list of to-do items.
Mm-hmm.
Is like put them all in there until you get like 4 pull requests, and then just see like, do they clash with each other? Like, do they work? Like,
That's a good point.
Because at this point, might as well leverage all your hard work and just like, if like in 2 hours now, after 2 hours of pain, you get like 6 pull requests, and then like, was it worth it? Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to work on my prompt engineering, because I asked for 3 and it still generated like 6. So I don't know what's the problem here to debug. So the UI looks like it's there. As far as like the code and stuff, like it still requires further debugging and stuff. So yeah, I agree. Yeah. This is exciting overall. Taking a look at Codex, we basically kind of, I've hit my head on the wall for a couple of hours and environment issues, but I want to come back. I want to do a different stream.
Look how impatient we've become.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
You can't get something set up in 2 hours. You're like, this is garbage.
Yeah, NGMI, right? You're not going to make it. Oh man, this is absolutely bonkers. So yeah, for those who are just tuning in, thank you so much for staying so long in the stream. I mean, there's some stream MVPs out there. We have Dutton. We also have Doom, who stayed on forever. Yikes. Big shout out to Yikes. Big shout outs to my members, anyone who's become a member as well. A huge shout out. Thank you so much for supporting this whole effort. We're trying to look at this stuff unbiased, without the hype. There are edge cases and things. We're not going to edit those out. This is a live stream for a reason. If you want to see more, we're going to be doing more stuff like this. Manuel and I are just going to start bouncing ideas off each other and start building. And you can see how we cook with AI. And this is just going to be going down. Ray Fernando 1337. You can catch me on X. You can catch me on YouTube, LinkedIn. You can also catch me on Twitch if you're into that as well. ProgramWithAI, Manuel. Where else can they find you?
On X, ProgramWithAI. On YouTube, Program-with-AI. Like I just started that, and then on Twitch as well. But I'm still setting all that stuff up. So
cool.
X is where it's currently where I'm the most active right now.
Awesome. So OpenAI Codex, definitely your thing if you're got this controlled environment.
Oh yeah. By the way, I've got like a fixed streaming schedule now. So
okay.
I'm streaming on Tuesday evening EST from like 6 to 8.
Nice.
Thursday, 6 p.m. to 8. And then Saturdays, just like random in the morning.
Okay. Yeah, I need to get a stream schedule set up. I think it's just been 10 a.m. Hawaiian time, usually during the week. So, all right, y'all, we're going to head on out. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll have some more when I go for a swim and clear my head and take a look at Codex again from a whole different perspective. All right, y'all.
Yeah.
Take it easy. Thanks.